And we are live.
All right. Hi guys. Welcome back to Olympics on my mind. It's been a while. It's been somewhat close to 2 months, but honestly, feel like ages. So much has happened, in the last month and a half. And for those who don't know, we both of us went to Paris for the Olympics. And by both of us, I mean Kapil, who has been my co-host as always. So we'll come to all of those details, and we'll discuss our experiences like we mentioned on Twitter. But yeah, before that, Kapil, how is it going? I mean, one thing I'd like to say, like hats off to you and your energy. Like if I have to say from talking in Olympic terms, we mortals almost had like a Jeswin Aldrin kind of experience who just went there, experienced the Olympics, and came back. But you went, and yours was almost like Sifa Hassan, who wasn't only stopping, you know. So, guys, he went to Europe, spent some good 20 days there before Olympics, went to Paris, spent the entire Olympics there, and then did not stop there also. Then went for another 10, 12 days, traveled around Europe, and then came back.
Ye-
Imagine now.
Yeah, it's what you have to do. Though एनर्जी के बारे में when we'll come to who watched how much Olympics तब पता चलेगा कि किसकी एनर्जी कितनी है वो तब दिखेगा. I'll say my beard is the proof. ये beard last मैंने इंडिया में काटा था निकलने के पहले. I don't think I've ever grown a beard so much, and the only reason I haven't shaved it off yet is just pure laziness, nothing else. मौका मिला नहीं और मैं बोला ठीक है चलो आज अच्छा है. आज के बाद होपफुली कभी मौका मिलेगा तो I'll cut it off. But yeah, it was good. Obviously, mixed experience in terms of everything. We'll get into it. And yeah, definitely. मतलब I will say this कि रियो गया था तब है ना sort of फीलिंग आई नहीं थी कि ओलंपिक देख के आए. इट वाज मे बी टू शॉर्ट अ टाइम प्लस रियो वाज मे बी अ
For
लिटिल.
you. Yeah.
हाँ, एटलीस्ट फॉर मी या कि रियो इट वाज टू शॉर्ट अ टाइम प्लस रियो वाज आल्सो लिटिल डिसअपॉइंटिंग फ्रॉम द एक्चुअल स्पोर्ट पर्सपेक्टिव. पेरिस ऑब्वियसली वाजंट परफेक्ट बट इस बार आ गया फीलिंग कि ओके ओलंपिक्स देख के आए हैं पूरा. एंड
Mhm.
सब सब जगह जाके आए हैं सब. वी इंजॉयड अ लॉट. एंड या ट्रिप तो ओके मेरा होता ही रहता है उसके पहले आजू बाजू आगे पीछे. So yeah, अभी तक पैर वैर मेरे सब दुख रहे. Just got back like 3 days back. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think ठीक है. Obviously, Olympics के point of view से बहुत मजा आया. Starting में it started to feel, it started on a very cynical note, I'll say, because I had reached 2 days before Olympics, and there were so many restrictions. Almost half the Paris was closed. There was security all around, and you couldn't access a lot of areas. Okay, and वो Olympics वाली कहीं feel ही नहीं थी. There was no decorations, no atmosphere, nothing. You talk to the local people, nobody's hyped up about it. Nobody's happy about it. Rather, they are cribbing about it that like, why are we even hosting it? So it started on that note, but yeah, eventually when the day of opening ceremony came, that is where things started getting hyped up, and you started to get into that feel.
हाँ
So
मतलब डेकोरेशन तो कम ही था. मतलब यू कैन से कि इट वाज नॉट अ सिटी ओवरटेकन बाय द ओलंपिक्स,
yeah,
which is what you
which
got
was
to feel.
which was in contrast to how
To
Rio
Rio,
felt.
exactly. Rio
Rio
में it
was like
was.
a proper party that entire city was in sort of a Olympic carnival.
Yeah, and in general you felt मतलब Rio में the Olympics are the only thing which are going on right now. Paris,
Exactly.
matlab, you felt like it was a city which was going on. Yes, and yes, there was police everywhere, which you normally don't see. And central Paris was a little locked, especially the Seine River and the Eiffel Tower and those
Initially, yeah.
areas.
Mm.
So central Paris felt a little locked, and especially if you don't have tickets, I don't think central Paris was that accessible. मतलब it was accessible by metro, yes, but उसके अलावा it wasn't as freely accessible. But हाँ, once you get out of Central Paris, you feel the Olympics only near the stadiums. Between
near
the
the stadium.
stadiums, you're not gonna see anything. It is
Yeah,
like a normal
and
city going about its business.
no doubt near the stadium, the kind of atmosphere was there. It was simply mind blowing. It was
Yeah,
amazing seeing so many people from so many countries, and even the selected few Parisians who had stayed back. So, by the way, we got to hear from a lot of people
बहुत
that
चलो.
a lot of local Parisians had left the city on holiday vacation because they were not very fond of Olympics. But those who stayed back, they were enjoying themselves and they were, feeling that atmosphere. So in and around venues, it was pretty amazing. I agree with you.
Yeah, and I think I mean you have a lot of news about people leaving and all, but I think percentage wise, I don't think you'll have more than 5 or 7% leaving. Eventually,
Yeah,
majority तो सारे रहते ही हैं.
and obviously those who are into
Hmm.
sports and those
Hmm.
like Olympics, they would have stayed back.
And stands
And
eventually, मतलब every stand you can say, मतलब when the French competitor is coming, no supporter or no supporters of any country can compete with the French supporters. That is
yes,
definitely there. French के आते से ही
and
पता
that
चल जाता
was
है कितने French हैं.
across the venues. That was a
Yeah,
major highlight, right? The
yeah.
way French were supporting not just their own country sports person. Of course, the support was off the charts for their own sports persons, but otherwise also the atmosphere, singing along, the
Hmm.
various songs which were coming up on the screens, Alele blue chants, and it was pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah. Overall, we got the experience we were looking for.
right.
चलो फिर
So yeah,
स्पेसिफिक्स में जाना है.
yes, let's get started. So guys, what we are going to do is, I mean, because a lot of people did ask us this question that which all events are you attending, how your entire plan of 15 days look like, what is the basic overall itinerary that you followed. So what we are going to start with is we are going to take you through day by day. That I mean won't dwell too much into details, just from high level that this is how day by day our schedule looked like, and some of the memories related to each of those days and events.
And yeah, and guys, by the way, chat is open. So if anybody has any questions, कैसा क्या था, क्या नहीं था, यहाँ नहीं गए, वहाँ नहीं गए, chat is open for everybody. We'll try to take as much as we can. आज, anyways, it's a bit of a light stream. We decided we won't be doing too much of a review, क्योंकि a lot of reviews have already been done. So obviously, we'll give our opinions on the performances of Indian sports person and कैसा था and क्या था, but it is a little more focused on the experience from the stands. Though, yeah, we will cover
Yeah.
sports as well in general.
And feel free to let us know if it gets boring or too much of details also. That's fine.
हम्म, चलो बोलो तेरा आइटनरी है सबसे पहले. हेवीली पैक्ड आइटनरी. इसके बाद जब मेरा आएगा तब पता चलेगा कितना डिफरेंस है.
Take second, let me put it on full screen. Yeah,
बाय द वे
yeah. I
इज इट
think
इट्स रीडेबल राइट? अदरवाइज मेरे पास ये भी है. अगर इफ दिस इज बेटर.
it is readable.
रीडेबल.
Like I'm checking on my phone also, and I can read through it.
ठीक
But
है चल.
yeah, confirm chat में एक बारी अगर कुछ problem है तो.
चल ठीक है तू चालू हो जा.
So yeah, I think I was in the initial few days I was sort of posting some stuff on Twitter as well. So my basic journey, like my Olympic experience, started from opening ceremony. For that, firstly, I have to thank Kavita, who made sure that she secured my ticket and I hadn't picked it up. So that is how I was able to attend the opening ceremony, which was a long time dream for me. So thank you, Kavita, if you're watching this. But yeah, the dream was always to watch it in a stadium and stuff. It felt a little weird. I mean, standing in the open at the riverside. ठीक है, atmosphere and everything was there. We were with full of crowd from different countries, people with their own country flags. We were chatting with each other, exchanging notes on their favorite sports person from their country, from India and stuff like that. All of that was amazing. But purely from a opening ceremony standpoint, it felt a little weird, and also because the opening ceremony as such was pretty French, and at least someone like me who does not understand a lot of culture history, I could not understand a lot of it. Matlab, for instance, I don't know, Kapil, what you thought about it, but for instance, that entire scene of the Queen of France getting beheaded, and suddenly the rock metal band started playing. I mean, I had absolutely no context what was going on. Later on, I read on Twitter, okay, this was the context and this is what was going on. So yeah, all of those things were there. But in terms of experience, of course, I was there where the parade of the boats was just beginning. Okay, at that bridge where they would have shown the tricolor of French flag bursting into smoke, right? So I was right at the onset of it. It was good to watch a lot of boats, right, from the smallest boat of Bhutan to the largest being US, spotting some of the biggest names like LeBron James, Coco Gauff, Tai Tzu Ying. Indian boat could easily spot Sindhu and stuff. So yeah, it was overall pretty amazing, the entire boat parade and stuff, the atmosphere. But outside of that, what you typically expect from a opening ceremony in a stadium with so much of carnival going on, and we could see that only on a screen. So yeah, I would say it was overall a mixed sort of a experience for me. What do you think, Kapil? How was your experience? I know because you were also there in opening ceremony, no?
Yeah, so even I started from the opening ceremony only, and the big difference between me and Weber here was simply that Weber was in the standing area with fans and everything, and I was in a sitting area because जैसे मैंने Twitter पे बोला था, he was in the fit area, I was in the fat area. So I had my seats. And yeah, opening ceremony on the whole, matlab, it was nice, but I mean, that's what you can say about it. It was nice. It was not spectacular. And at least from a, value for money perspective, it definitely left a little disappointed because,
For you,
for
it,
me at least,
for me,
because
90 euros.
so his was 90 euros, mine was 250 euros. And 250 euros, by the way, is the cheapest seat. You didn't have a seat cheaper than 250 euros. So it was extremely expensive. And again, once again, my sister Kavita was the one who really wanted to go for it. I was like 250 is too costly, but ठीक है. Even I wanted to go, but it's just that costly बहुत ज़्यादा था. But ठीक है, we went for it and it was fun. The rain definitely played a little bit of a spoil sport there. And I didn't have anything. I think Web of तेरे पास छतरी वतरी लेके गया था तू? What was the situation?
Yeah, I had the raincoat, but still I left it in the middle because we reached there 3 hours before we had to stand in the queue because तुम्हारी designated seats थी. For us
Right.
to be ahead of the queue and in the front row, we had to reach there 3 hours earlier, and still there was so much of crowd already gathered, right?
Uh,
So standing all day in the rain, getting drenched, I started catching cold. Also, started developing some, feverish feeling also. So I left in the middle. I think like 2 hours down the line, I had left and went back to my hotel.
Yeah, so similar only. I mean, the big thing about it was obviously so the way, as Weber also said, the way it worked is we could all see the boats coming through, which is basically the country boats, but that is all we could see with our own eyes. Uske alawa, everything was happening on the screen only. And the way it
Yeah.
was working was that the boat parade was going on continuously. But on the TV, what used to happen is they used to show some country boats, which may be right at the beginning of the river, then they would show some performance, and then they would
And
again
then
start
delayed.
showing, yeah, then again start showing boats which would be further along, and by the end they are showing boats which have almost reached the end of the route, which is like a 6 kilometer route. So it's like you
Yeah.
we started off with the initial countries where we are first seeing them on the screen, and then the boats are coming, and then slowly it became that we are seeing the boats first, and then we see them like half an hour later on the screens. तो वैसे
Yeah.
चल रहा था एंड या एंड ऑब्वियसली ओपनिंग सेरेमनी में वो तो हुआ ही था दे kept downsizing it, right? In the beginning it started from 600,000 free fans, then it became lesser. There was also plans about, you know, some boat performances where there would be some performances on the boat which we would supposedly be able to see live as the boats pass by. वो हटा दिया था उन लोग ने पूरा. All the performances were just on stage, we can just watch them on TV on the screen, and we are just seeing the boats. So मेरा ध्यान तो obviously boats पे ही था. You're talking about, you know, Mary Antoinette getting
Exactly.
beheaded and everything. I
Yeah.
wasn't watching too much of the screen because it's like ठीक है वो तो बाद में घर पे जाके भी देख सकते हैं. So
Mm.
I was mainly watching the boats. Watching the boats, yes, was fun, but it didn't have that spectacularness which is there. But yeah,
Yeah. Anything particular that stood out for you from that boat parade?
I mean, yeah, I think I've touched on, you know, how big the US boat was. That obviously strikes you. France,
Mm.
obviously, you expect कि France की boat बड़ी होगी because they are the
Yeah.
host. But yeah, how big
Yeah.
the US
See,
boat was, that definitely
even
strikes you.
I think I posted on Twitter also. France ki boat and US ki boat were almost similar, but
Uh,
you had that intimidating feeling watching US, right?
yep.
Because there was something around it. Especially it could be, being seeing LeBron James and Coco Gauff right at the front, leading so confidently, and just there was just some confident aura around it. Maybe it might be just our perception,
Hmm.
but yeah,
And on the contrary,
something was
मतलब
there.
चाइना कब पास हुआ पता भी नहीं चला. They didn't even have their own boat.
China China played smart actually. They
They
knew that a lot of their so I don't think a lot of athletes were there on Chinese boat. It
exactly,
was
huh?
primarily their staff, and they didn't send it because obviously it was raining and they didn't want their athletes to get drenched and fall ill.
Okay, I don't know about whether they didn't send because of raining or whether they just, you know, avoided opening ceremony. Just say Indian contingent also wasn't very big, right? It was a
Usually
reasonably,
they don't, right? Usually,
exactly.
from what I remember, it's always been large contingent parading in the stadium from
Yeah,
China.
yeah, I don't know. So China का at least contingent parading wasn't that big. India का भी छोटा ही था. US का इसलिए भी I think it felt a little intimidating because it looked like के सारे आ गए. A lot of them had
Yeah,
come. Maybe their contingent also becomes larger because of teams. I'm not too sure if they are there in more team sports as compared to China. पता नहीं. But
yeah,
yeah, overall opening ceremony was like fine. It was not spectacular. That's what we can say.
exactly. Yeah, I would agree. Right. So yeah, moving on. First day of the Olympics, sports wise, I think for me it was the longest day, and I would say it was one of the most fun days also, because I decided this day I'm going to use for all the non-Indian sporting events, and no attachment, no emotions, nothing, just purely enjoy the spectacular venues that Paris Olympics has to offer, and just be in the mix and absorb as much as possible. And that's what I did. Started with fencing, which was in Grand Palais. You would have all of you would have seen pictures how amazing that venue was, from outside, from inside. uh, did not enjoy that much from a sporting point of view, because there are like four, I don't know what do you call it, mats.
Pist, P-I-S-T.
Okay. So pissed, four pissed, and on all four, the matches are going out parallelly and consecutively back to back. So you can't grasp, what's going on, because it is so fast paced. There is so much of action going around, and you don't know the fencers also. So yeah, sporting wise, it wasn't that great, but it was super entertaining. France is very strong in fencing,
Yeah.
so they had created a great atmosphere. It was so much fun, honestly. The 2 hours that I spent there. Then tennis wasn't initially in part of my itinerary, but later on, when Rohan Bopanna and Balaji were scheduled to be a part of the session, so I like a day before only I bought those tickets and decided to go there. So typically, what happens is you have to buy. So Balaji and Bopanna's match was on the outside courts. And how can you get access to outside courts in Roland Garros is if you have a ticket to a one of the main courts, which is Philip Chatrier, Suzanne Longlong, or can't recall the third,
Simon Matthew, yeah, right?
Simone Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you have those tickets, you can access the outside courts as well. So I got Philip Chartier ticket and then started running from Grand Palais to Roland Garros, which was a good 1 15 minutes away. Uh, another reason I left fencing in the middle was because I was afraid that if Djokovic's match ended, they might not allow me to, get inside because with Djokovic's match, I mean, your session was also ends, right?
Over,
Because
yeah.
session only had two matches in it. So yeah, the moment I reached inside the Philip Chartier Stadium, Djokovic was on the match point, and I just got to see 1 point, single point on that entire ticket. Okay, so was that waited for 2 3 hours for rain to get over because it was raining that day entire day, and then later on they sort of announced that there are not going to be any matches. All the matches on outside courts are postponed. So then moved from there to Eiffel Tower, which was the venue of beach volleyball. Yeah, it was also good fun. I mean, first, firstly got to see the Eiffel Tower. That was my first view of it. Then there in the beach volleyball, I think the best experience was my ticket was category D ticket, right, which was the cheapest ticket, and the view was almost like Eiffel Tower is at towards the back of me. Okay, and so I thought that let me just see because it wasn't a fully packed stadium, so I moved from there and went to the opposite stand to see if there is one empty seat and nobody questions me, so I'll just peacefully sit there and watch it. And that's what happened, and apparently those were category A tickets. Okay, so just went there, sat, and yes, it was Australia versus China. Pretty good match as well. Went to the deciding rubber, which Australia won. And yes, I mean, view wise, match wise, atmosphere wise, there was fantastic music, being played in the intervals, and the DJ was pretty cool. So yeah, I think one of the best experiences for sure, beach volleyball. From there, then had to like literally run towards swimming, which was in La Defense Arena, which was quite literally, the other corner of Paris. And there it was supposed to be what, race of the century, Ledecky versus Titmus versus McIntosh. So yeah, that was supposedly the highlight of the day for me. I was looking forward to it even before going to Paris. And yeah, not just that race, but the pre-event show that they put, the light show on water, and everything, the gigantic venue that it was. Yeah, it was quite a surreal experience, that entire swimming 2 hours. Even though swimming tickets were pretty costly, I think it was totally worth the value that I spent on the tickets.
तो कितना you spent
Mm,
what like one and a half hour at every stadium out of the four टेनिस के अलावा नहीं टेनिस में you
हाँ
said 2 3 घंटा ना
हाँ, मतलब beach volleyball and swimming I could attend the entire session because the
हम्म,
sessions in itself were pretty small.
हम्म,
बट फेंसिंग का बीच में छोड़ के आना पड़ा, और टेनिस का तो लिटरली जस्ट स्टेड देयर फॉर 3 4 hours in Roland Garros, but all I could watch was a single match point, that's all.
हम्म। ठीक है स्टिल हेक्टिक डे आई मीन आई कैन नेवर ड्रीम ऑफ सच अ डे ये तो मैं ट्राई भी नहीं कर सकता इससे कम मैंने ट्राई किए थे जो फिर इवेंचुअली मैंने डिच में आती है सोल्ड हाफ द टिकट्स ऑफ बट या माइन
Yeah,
वाज इट
super
वाज
hectic.
huh super hectic huh yeah
Hmm.
mine was very different experience this day Started at 5 a.m. or in fact at 4 a.m. 5 a.m. से we drove, ड्राइव करके स्ट्रेट टू शैट्रो इन द मॉर्निंग राइट आफ्टर द ओपनिंग सेरेमनी। तो लाइक आई थिंक रात के 1 बजे सोए होंगे, 4 बजे उठे होंगे, and then off to Chateau. And Chateau, maybe we saw the qualifications. It was an enjoyable day. It went better. It became better as it went on. We started off with that air rifle mixed team, and we were right behind Ramita and Arjun. उसकी ट्विटर पे एक्चुअली मैंने काफ़ी फोटोज एंड एवरीथिंग शेयर किया था।
Shaky
सो
videos as well.
या वीडियोज ऑलवेज गोना बी शेकी। So yeah, we enjoyed that. They were in the hunt. Eventually ended sixth, but it was an enjoyable experience. But eventually, okay, they didn't make it, and then that went into Sarabjot's qualification, where there was that massive heartbreak in the end, where he missed out literally by a single inner ten. हम लोग मतलब उधर वी वर ऑल एक्सपेक्टिंग कि ये तो होना ही चाहिए, मतलब वी वर ऑल बाय वी वर ऑल आई मीन वी वर लाइक अबाउट 3 people except my family. Couple of others had made it to shooting that day. Most others joined us in the shooting next day. बट हाँ, हम लोग थे 2-4 लोग। सरबजोत का जब खत्म हुआ राइट उसके पीछे खड़े थे, होपिंग फॉर द गुड रिजल्ट, बट एक इनर टेन से रह गया। आई स्टिल रिमेंबर दैट लास्ट शॉट वेयर इट वाज लिटरली लाइक इट वाज गारंटीड के he just needed an inner 10. If he gets an inner 10, he's through, otherwise he's out. And he got a regular 10, not an inner 10.
Yeah, even
And
that too was very, very close.
हाँ
The
वो
inner 10 that he missed was extremely close.
या वो चल रहा था कि मे बी सेकंड लास्ट शॉट और लास्ट शॉट इट वाज वेरी क्लोज, दो आई एम नॉट 100% श्योर अबाउट दैट, क्योंकि people gave it based on the target, but I'm not sure about the accuracy of that. But yeah, chal raha tha कि it was very close to the inner 10. And I remember, I mean, after that, he, which is sort of, we saw that 2-3 times, which makes you do feel sad. कि after the event, the athlete was just, or the Sarabjot was basically just sitting on his chair, head down.
Blank.
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically frozen over there. He was one of the last people to leave the range. इतना याद है मुझे. He was
Mm.
also one of the last people to finish anyways, because and I think most of our shooters were like that. End तक खींच रहे थे. None of the shooters were like आधे घंटे पहले खत्म कर दिया या 15 मिनट पहले खत्म कर दिया. Most of them used to go to like the last 5 minutes or last 3 minutes or whatever. uh, that might be the coaching strategy or whatever. And yeah, after that he just sat there on his chair for a long time, just looking down. And then so yeah, there was just looking 2 days later, we all know what happened 2 days later. So there was a little bit of that connect as well. 2 days later he was able to redeem him, or not, he was able to get his happiness back, let's put it that way. Redeem himself is not the right term, because even his performance over there was great. So that was the disappointment. So it went like, it went sixth, where we needed to be in top four. Then it was like only one inner 10 missed. And then finally we came to Manu, where we eventually got to the final. And yeah, Manu right through, matlab, we were sitting behind Rhythm mainly because Manu के पीछे seat नहीं थी. There was just standing area behind Manu. सो रिदम के पीछे हम लोग बैठे थे, और वहाँ पे स्टैंडिंग एरिया में एक्चुअली अलाउड भी नहीं था स्टैंडिंग करना. यू कैन गो टुवर्ड्स द एंड, बट ऑफिशियली
That's
यू
also because you've been slightly partial towards rhythm
नहीं,
always.
ऐसा नहीं है. मतलब अगर मनु का के पीछे सीट होता, वी माइट हैव गॉन टू मनु आल्सो. इट्स नॉट दैट वे. इट्स जस्ट दैट कि रिदम के एकदम राइट पीछे सीट थी, मनु के पीछे देयर वाज द एंट्रेंस बेसिकली. So there was no space to sit there. So that's how it happened. And yeah, Rhythm was very relaxed. She started off well, but eventually, I think by about the fourth or the fifth series, it was clear she's not making it. And Manu
Mm.
was right through business like. मतलब she was absolutely. देख कविता बोल ही रही है कि नो वे आई वाज लीविंग सिटिंग बिहाइंड मनु, ही वुडंट हैव हैड अ चॉइस. वो पॉइंट वही था, पीछे सीट थी नहीं. So, but yeah, Manu was, right from the beginning. She was like business like. She was absolutely walking with a purpose. कभी लगा ही नहीं कि she is not gonna make it. Right through she
Yeah.
was there. बीच में okay थोड़ा बहुत होता ही है. But yeah, and especially the happiness about Manu was कि finally now I'm gonna see an Indian final. This is still at a point when we are still worried कि shooting में क्या होगा क्या नहीं होगा पता नहीं. Rio maybe we had the Jeetu memories, we had the Gagan Narang memories. We didn't get an Indian final. बिंद्रा तक मैं पहुंचा नहीं था. And so finally it would be कि okay, next day at least we can now go to the finals range. अभी तक तो हम लोग
Mm.
सिर्फ qualification में ही है. So yeah, it was
Mm.
a nice day. and then obviously just went home and fell asleep क्योंकि सुबह सुबह जल्दी उठे हुए थे.
Yeah, Manuga, I think, like you're saying, she seemed very confident, and it was a very right mix of being confident, knowing her, stuff, and being there for a purpose, like you're saying. It was a very different body language that you're used to seeing, in other Indian
Hmm.
sports person. It felt very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree.
चलो फिर next day.
So my next day morning then almost started similar to yours, went to sleep late in the night, 1, 2 a.m. Firstly, had to pack my bags, to leave for Chateau, and then had a 5:30 train in the morning, so hardly 3 to 4 hours of sleep. And then, yeah, that is where we sort of, four or five of us who were traveling from all over, India, world, we and who are also sort of connected with us on Olympics on my mind, Twitter, Prasanna, Nitish, Ashish, Ankush, all of us came together in the train, and then we went to Chateau. And I think next 3 days in Chateau for me was pretty amazing because firstly that was the first Indian related experience that you were experiencing, I was experiencing in Olympics. And yeah, it obviously started on a very, won't say very high note. Actually, before Manu, I think for me it was a big heartbreak. Honestly, uh, started with air rifle women
Yeah.
when we reached Chatriot.
Yeah, and I think this was
Every
the first event जो अपन ने साथ में देखा, right? I think we saw.
साथ में देखा था. We
हाँ, so
were
हम लोग.
there together.
हम्म. What?
Hmm. So yeah, like you don't remember it quite a lot because the day ended on a high note because of Manu and all the euphoria around it. But yeah, that image of Ela playing exceptionally well throughout the entire qualification and then sort of not being able to sustain that in last 3 4 shots and just sitting there blind blankly watching her scores the screen, that image still haunts me to this day. And it just didn't feel good, although before going to Paris I had thought about it. And like I was fully convinced that I'm not going to be emotionally connected to any sort of outcomes, just go there only for enjoyment and do nothing else. But yeah, that moment somewhat broke me, and i I think it was pretty bad. But yeah, Manu somewhat helped in overcoming that. And of course, not just Manu, Ela, you would have read it on Twitter, right? What an
Hmm.
amazing
Yeah,
personality
yeah.
she is. She herself came to us, was all cheerful, was talking to people, getting pictures clicked, consoling her teammates, and she was all over the place in a very positive vibe. She was giving. So yeah, that helped. But yes, Shatru, I think both Manu as well as mixed event of Manu and Sarabjot. It was uh, pretty amazing experience, and meeting everyone who was literally in Paris for the Olympics. Talking about the Indian traveling fans. So all of us were there in Chateau. We were together all the time, trying to trying different things. Like there was a shooting range as well where
Hmm.
you could go and try shooting on your own also. We did that, got so many pictures clicked with the Olympic rings, with the Olympic torch. There were so many shooters all around, simply roaming around, Indians as well as some of the biggest of the international shooters whom you can simply approach, get pictures clicked, speak to them. We gave so many interviews to so many media channels. The entire experience was pretty amazing, and I think, yeah, couldn't have asked for more. from my side.
Yeah, I'll agree. I mean, for me also, this was one of the most memorable days, even though it started on a, I won't say disappointing note, I will say a bittersweet note because, I mean, you obviously were affected more by, seeing Ila sitting there. I had already seen Sarabjot sitting in basically the exact same pose the previous day. So वहाँ पे थोड़ा वो hit कम होता है. And Ila का I remember, I mean, we were a little far from the two shooters again because the problem was दोनों ही Ila और अमिता के पीछे इस बार बैठने की जगह नहीं थी. So we were seeing them from the sides and ज़्यादा focus Ila पे ही था through the event. And then towards the last few shots we went and we stood behind her. And I remember precisely, मतलब after 58 shots I was like this is done. मतलब this is done, मतलब she is in the final. मैंने
Yeah.
कुछ कैलकुलेट वैलकुलेट मारा था कि शी if she hits like a 10.3 or 10.4 on the 59 shot then she just needs a 10 on the last shot and she's through. But वो हो गया 9.8 and 9.8 के बाद I still remember इला का reaction तभी भी था. It was like looking like this कि अरे क्या कर दिया something like this. And 9.8 के बाद it was like very tough. It literally had to be it had to be some 10.8 or 10.9 in the last shot
Mm.
to get her through. And yeah, वो 59 के बाद लगा था कि it was gone. In fact, I think 10.9 पे भी नहीं होता था. I think it had got to a point के अब 11 चाहिए. So 11 is not possible. So it's gone. And then, but then there was the other thing कि वहाँ पे उधर हम लोग खड़े थे इला के पीछे and it's like, okay, it's gone and you are again feeling very sad कि क्या हो रहा है again, which only Manu has reached. But then suddenly Ramita, who was like going around 10th, 11th, she had a great last round and she suddenly came into the top eight. So all of us then Ila का last shot देख के Ila was a little ahead in shooting, maybe 3-4 minute आगे थी. So she shot her last shot and she came and sat down and then we all moved behind Ramita. So at least for me, मतलब it was offset by the fact कि okay, at least Ramita got to the final. You couldn't do it, I know that. But at least for me, ठीक है, Ramita got to the final. She also, waved to us and she thanked us for supporting and whatever. मतलब just
Yeah.
ऐसे she gave us a smile. We got some good pictures. There was Suma Shiru right there, hugging her, and so we saw all
Who
those
was the
happy moments.
last? Who was the last
Last
10-meter air rifle woman to qualify
for
for
the
the Olympic
finals,
final?
20 years back, yeah. So there was
Just
definitely,
just one thing here, Kapil. For like you're saying, for me, Ramita getting into final did not even register.
uh,
Okay, I was standing there with you behind Ramita, but it just wasn't registering because all I could think of was Ela missing out, and her being a favorite shooter was also probably the reason that I was feeling more about it.
yeah, but ठीक है. I मतलब it was definitely bittersweet. It definitely felt like के दोनों पहुंचते तो और मजा आता. But at least there was some happiness there. So for me, it did not hit as much as it hit for Weber, obviously. And yeah,
Mm.
and from there on, we obviously went to the finals range. And finals range, with obviously that was one of possibly the highlight. I think my highlight was the two Manu medals. सब जैसे as Weber said, we all sat together, we cheered.
That was a major reason. So, guys,
हाँ,
we deliberately went earlier than other spectators, and sat in the front rows and blocked for those who reached. They blocked, kept their bags on the adjacent chairs for other people, so that all of us are sitting together and cheering together. And that was the reason, we were so audibly loud on the TV sets also.
yeah. So हाँ, so उसमें बहुत मजा आया. We sat there, we had all had our flags, we were all ready to go. And yeah, the result came out great. And it was a release. मतलब at least me and you both, we have talked so much about shooting. We always even हमारे ट्विटर पे भी लोग शूटरों को गाली देते रहते हैं. एटलीस्ट मेरे ट्विटर पे, तेरा पता नहीं मुझे. तो मेरे ट्विटरों पे भी लोग शूटरों को
I
गाली
don't
देते
care.
रहते हैं. And it's it was that huge release के finally this duck has been broken at
Yeah,
last. So
yeah, exactly.
it was definitely a huge moment. मेरे को अभी तक याद है, the silver moment still fell at the end, कि I remember bronze हो गया है, we all celebrated, cheered and everything, but it's like okay, अभी और होएगा. Even after the bronze, Manu was like point one ahead of Kim Yeji. And then
Yeah, yeah.
उसके बाद वो last shot जो था, she shot 10.3 and
10.4.
in a,
10.3, yeah.
हाँ, she shot at 10.3 and we are like okay silver हो गया या हो जाना चाहिए, and then suddenly Kim Yeji comes up with a 10.5, literally point 1 से मनु को ब्रॉन्ज पे कर दिया था।
वो अब लग रहा है ना, उस टाइम पे तो ये था कि मेडल इज अ मेडल।
हाँ नहीं नहीं मतलब
ठीक है।
डेफिनेटली देयर वाज हैप्पीनेस एंड वी डेफिनेटली चीयर्ड, बट मुझे एटलीस्ट तब भी लगा यार कि ये सिल्वर था। और एंड
हम्म,
पिस्टल में 10.5 इतना इजीली आता नहीं है बाय द वे गाइस, सो द एंटायर you know if you look at the flow of the final, that 10.5 from her was not expected. It was looking ke 10.3 should be enough for the silver, though the gold medalist was a little ahead, तो
वही
वो
ना। मनु
हाँ
मनु somewhat got lucky in the sense that जो Vietnamese थी who was on the fourth position,
हाँ
she was shooting really well all throughout the final,
बट
and in
एंड
those
में
last 4 5 shots she shot at, I think, two or three niners, which is
it
where
went
she faltered.
Yeah, it went below. By the time of the bronze medal shot, I think Manu had like a 2 point lead or something. So it
Yeah.
was comfortable. But
See,
yeah,
for me, all I cared at that moment,
key
as I
medal आ
can
गया
recall
हाँ
right now, shooting medal aa gaya, and it's Manu.
yeah
I mean, that was just like those were the two things I could think of. Shooting medal, my first ever Olympic medal that I could watch, because I could not watch any of the two medals that came in Rio. Shooting, which has always been close to my heart, I could watch that. Pehla medal आया shooting से, and how, of all the people, it's Manu. So yeah,
yeah.
pretty great.
And yeah, I also remember, after the medal has been won, the medal ceremony has happened and everything, and we are a group of good 7 8 guys or something. I think I can show some photographs. कहाँ पे है? Yeah, ये भी है, ये भी है. Yeah, so we are यहाँ पे, you can see in this photo all of us cheering together. इधर, yeah, this is a good photograph. Uh, so yeah, we were a group of good 7 8 guys, and after that we were, at least I felt like we were walking around the shooting range like sort of bosses. के and there were like various media people हम लोग को बुला रहे हैं, इधर आओ इंटरव्यू दो, इधर आओ इंटरव्यू दो. आई थिंक वी 3 4 इंटरव्यू दिए होंगे अलग अलग लोगों ने अलग अलग लोगों के साथ.
मतलब हमने
काइंड ऑफ
शूटिंग रेंज तो क्या, वी वर गिविंग इंटरव्यूज इवन आउटसाइड द शैट्रो रेलवे स्टेशन।
अच्छा हाँ,
इमेजिन।
so that is your experience because I took a car and I had a different path then. But yeah, I still remember that we were literally walking around the shooting range like bosses. कि अब
There were
medal आ गया
people
है.
congratulating us, like
Yeah,
everyone saying, be it in the fans shooting range, the coach who was teaching us, the how to shoot, they were congratulating us. There were fans from other countries congratulating us. Well done, Manu, bronze, and all of those things. So it obviously feels very good.
yeah. So it was one of those memorable experiences. Uh, ठीक है. और you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, Shatro primarily was mostly about Manu, but yes, like we said, air rifle women, we've also talked about. Qualification was mixed. Final again for Ramita uh, didn't go very well
Didn't
for
go
us,
too well.
but
Yeah.
that's always on the cards. It's very unpredictable.
Hmm.
Everyone is starting on a ground zero level. Nobody is a favorite in air rifle, or for that matter, any of the air rifle
Hmm.
pistol shooting events. Arjun was again. So I had a hunch that day that either it is going to, and I think I told you this, Kapil, right, before the start of the event. Either it's going to be a silver for Arjun, or it's going to be a fourth position. पहले मेरे को लग रहा था it might end up in a silver medal, because then again vibes were very positive,
हाँ,
right, and we were
you had
feeling
already
very
decided.
optimistic.
I think शेंग लियाओ का तो गोल्ड है ही, उसके आगे बात करो, right? You had
वो
basically
ऑब्वियस था। या
you had
दैट
decided
वाज
that.
डिसाइडेड। क्या वो पहले से ही प्री, इफ देयर वाज वन मेडल व्हिच वाज प्री डिसाइडेड इन entirety of shooting, it was Sheng Liao's air 10-meter air rifle gold.
But he was not that dominant, huh? He definitely had his slip ups and
And
chance.
yet he became
एंड में
dominant
फोड़
in
दी.
the second half of the
हाँ, एंड में फोड़ दिया लास्ट के 4 5 शॉट में ही टुक इट अवे. बट डेफिनेटली इट वाज नॉट लाइक ही वाज नेवर इन ट्रबल और एनीथिंग. और वन थिंग ऑल्सो नोटिस, मतलब शेंग लियाओ का क्वालिफिकेशन में ही शूट्स वेरी फास्ट, बट फाइनल में दैट वाज नॉट द केस. फाइनल में द स्पीड वाज more or less similar to the other shooters only.
or even more delayed. Like he was one of the
Uh,
last shooters who was taking his shot.
Towards the end at least, maybe not in the beginning. But yeah, hua tha. And yeah, obviously Arjun was heavily disappointing on the मतलब the heartbreak. This is where the heartbreak started. मतलब ठीक है, we have already had Sarabjot and Ela as heartbreaks, but at least in the qualification, this was like the first heartbreak on the finals range. And
Yeah,
he looked, it looked like he had a medal in the hand, and then last shot में गड़बड़ हो गया. There was also, I think, a thing where in the last shot, there were except for Sheng Lia, all the three shooters were in danger. It was like point 0.5, point 0.2, point 0.1 ऐसा कुछ gap था. And Arjun was like, I think, point 0.1 behind the third place shooter, something like this. So the third place shot like a 10.7, and then it's like Arjun needed a 10.9. So I heard somewhere ki it was maybe a thing where he just on that last shot went for the 10.9 only because he thought that is the only way to survive. But then that second place shooter actually shot low, and actually Arjun maybe just would have gone through with a 10.2, 10.3, something like that. Just a decent 10, he would have been in top three. But that's how it happens. And okay, it's just a theory I heard. I don't know how true or how fake it is. But yeah,
Kapil, I know you have a great memory and
आगे
there is
बढ़ना
so
है.
much to share. But अगर हम इतनी डिटेल में जाने लगेंगे ना तो
हाँ,
we might sit here till morning. तो
वो तो
थोड़ा
बैठना ही है.
सफर करते हैं,
चल
है
फिर.
ना?
एंड या एंड देन द लास्ट डे ऑफ शूटिंग, राइट? लास्ट डे तो वही देखा. आई डिड एक्चुअली टेक अ ट्रिप टू द शॉटगन रेंज. एक राउंड देख के आया था मैं पृथ्वीराज का, बट इट वाज लाइक अ हॉरिबल राउंड. इट वाज द राउंड व्हिच एंडेड हिज चांसेस, एंड इट वाज वेरी हॉट. तो शॉटगन वाज फाइन, बट शॉटगन में वो थोड़ा ऊपर जाके ओपन में इट वाज एक्सट्रीमली हॉट. तो एक ही सेशन देखा. इट वाज ओके. And then
Yeah,
yeah, last day at least my last day at the range was 30th, when Manu became a legend,
yeah,
doing something nobody has done except for Norman Richard, which is also disputed.
yeah.
But yeah,
One thing I'd like to mention here, despite coming out high from the shooting range on both the days, typically when we would, so there used to be a shuttle from range to the Chateau station, and from there we used to go eat lunch somewhere, all of us, and then go back to some of the people would go back to Paris. Some of them who were staying in Chateau would go back to their Airbnb, hotel, etc. And in the middle of that, we somehow caught up with both the men's and women's archery. Okay.
okay,
And we all know what they did in the
yeah.
first round.
uh,
I can't even remember if it was first round or actually quarter final for both, right?
Quarterfinal, they got buys in the round of 16.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And it
Yeah.
was pretty like we were sitting outside a closed showroom on the pavement, six of us, watching in our phone, and people who were passing by us are just watching us that what the hell are they doing. And it was, I mean, it could have been such a good memory that okay, we saw archery team winning while sitting on the pavement and stuff, but yeah, it was such a disaster, man. What do we even say about it?
Yeah, I mean, मेरा experience भी similar ही था. I was not with you guys because you guys were going back to Chateau.
Kapil, you were never with us. You were always elusive. तेरे को मुझे बुलाना पड़ रहा था कि बार बार
हाँ.
कि भाई people want to meet you. Where are you?
हाँ, सो दैट इज अभी तुझे पता चला ना हाउ लेजी आई एम, एंड हमारे कितने रिस्ट्रिक्शन होते हैं. सो बट या एनीवेज, तो हम लोग वी हैड अ होटल इन बॉल्जेस व्हिच इज लाइक एन 45 मिनट्स फ्रॉम शैट्रो, और हम लोग गाड़ी से जाते थे रोज. सो इसलिए our paths used to be different from the shooting range. They used to go to the station, I used to go to my car parking lot. एंड दोनों वो वुमेन्स एंड मेंस दोनों क्वार्टर फाइनल्स वैसे ही देखें, गाड़ी में बैठ के गाड़ी सड़क पे रोक दी व्हेन इट्स अबाउट टू स्टार्ट. वी आर गोइंग टू होटल बट वी हैव नॉट रीच, तो गाड़ी सड़क पे रोक दो कोने में, जहाँ पे मौका मिले जस्ट टेक आउट द फोन, एंड यू आर टेकिंग आउट द फोन एंड आई एम कैलकुलेटिंग, ओके ये मैच खत्म हो गया तो अगला वाला सेमीफाइनल तक मैं होटल पहुंच जाऊंगा कि नहीं, एंड यू आर डूइंग ऑल दीज कैलकुलेशंस एंड एवरीथिंग, एंड देन द वे द मैचेस वेंट, इट वाज लाइक क्या कर रहे हो यार, ये क्या है. इट लिटरली फेल्ट लाइक दिस के What is going on here? That
Yeah.
those two matches were seriously two of the worst matches across sports we had from Indian athletes. There were others as well, but yeah, those two both left a bitter taste in the mouth.
I mean, there's no justification to it, right? Except for just one.
Yeah, and especially the men's one. मतलब women वाला ठीक है, women team maybe you can say they were not that strong or whatever. तुम ये argument दे सकते हो even though they were hitting sixes and everything. But at least you expected a little better from the men. But yeah, those quarterfinals were disasters.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
way to see it.
So yeah, I think that's about Shatrio from our itinerary. More or less, we have covered it, right?
Yeah, and I think only one thing I can add, it's like this was an interesting moment.
अब तो सारी पिक्चर्स भी अभी दिखाएगा या यू विल गो टू
नहीं
द
नहीं, सारी नहीं, एक ही
थीमेटिक?
दिखा रहा हूँ. ये देख, so this was actually the Serbians celebrating their gold medal in mixed pistol. So this right on the ground and बहुत बुरा वाला, he threw his headphones in the air and everything, and they hugged each other. And I at least remember this
Mikic
moment.
and Arnautovic.
Yes, Mikic and Arnautovic. तुझे याद है ये moment?
Of course, I tweeted about it.
Yeah, so they just absolutely went crazy after winning the mixed team pistol gold. And yeah, it's just something a memory. मतलब I remember I overheard अपना HPD आके फिर है ना इंडियन सपोर्ट स्टाफ को बोला था कि that's the kind of passion we should show.
Yeah,
थोड़ा
I remember that as well.
half
Yes.
jokingly, not seriously, but
Hmm.
he said, yeah, they completely went, and you could see their emotions. मतलब both of them have been competing in Olympics since a long time. दोनों का तीसरा चौथा Olympics होगा. I don't know how many they have competed in, but
Yeah.
बहुत times, and they really went
20,
crazy.
30 plus World Cup medals easily
Hmm.
combined.
Yeah, they both of them really went crazy after that gold
And
medal match.
funnily enough, none of us knew that all of us were a part of a live meme that mixed pistol event. I
Yusuf
think
Dikech, right?
Yusuf Dikes. That's
Who
where Yusuf Dikes got world's attention, right? In from that event only.
so he went with the silver. Yeah, maza aaya us दिन. It was a very enjoyable day. And I think even in the bronze medal match, I think the one big difference from Manu, at least from me, was that the bronze medal match was much more relaxed. It's like एक तो first of all एक medal आ गया है, तो it's that pressure is not there. And in general, the way the match went, we were always ahead. Manu का it was always tense कि एक गलत shot हुआ and खत्म हो गया.
Mm.
That match, at least I in a way enjoyed that match more कि uh, we were always ahead, we were always calm, we always were confident कि ये होगा.
If Manu wasn't working, Sarabjot was, and
Hmm.
vice versa.
And that one, Oyejan had a really bad day that day. The
Mm.
Korean who actually won the
Female
gold medal
shooter.
in 10 meters, but she had a
Yeah.
really bad day that day.
Yeah.
तो ठीक है, yeah, that's the shooting and shatter. तो तुझे मनु भाकर का आगे का एक्सपीरियंस खत्म करना है तो खत्म कर दे before we move on from shooting.
आगे का you mean 25-meter pistol?
हाँ, if you want to say something, if you don't want to say, ठीक है.
नहीं, as such तो कुछ नहीं है मतलब.
ठीक है, चलो फिर आगे बढ़ते हैं. So this is now 30th is done, and we are both going back to Paris on
Mm.
30th evening.
Yeah, 30th
31st,
morning was mixed pistol, right?
yeah, 30th morning was mixed pistol.
So 30th morning mixed pistol, and I think all of us who were in Chateau then moved to Paris. And personally, for me, I had tennis tickets on that day evening, Roland Garros, and had to move to a new accommodation. So that in itself took me a couple of hours first to locate that Airbnb and then to bypass the four log different gates that had different lock codes and such a complex mechanism basically that Airbnb had. It took me 8 9 p.m. only in towards the night, and I just couldn't go for tennis and was also tired as well. So that was one of the reason. And then 31st morning for me, and yeah, another good thing happened was because we were together in Chatriot, uh, and the badminton schedule was getting released just a day before only. So we got to know 31st morning Lakshya is going to play Christie, which is almost like a round of 32 knockout for him. So four of us decided, we booked our tickets together and we decided to go for it. Initially, I didn't have tickets because you don't know the schedule in advance, right? In which particular session Lakshay or any of the Indian badminton player is going to feature. So yeah, that was a good part, and yes, that will always remain one of the highlight for me personally in this entire Paris Olympics journey. The way he showed up, the way I had expected him to show up, and the kind of flawless game he had on that day, getting better of Christie in each and every rally, not committing any unnecessary errors. Basically, he came to the occasion. It was his first, so to say, proper match in Olympics. Did not get overwhelmed at all. It was just like quite happy, a moment for me. And then later in that evening, of course, another very special moment went for Roland Garros. I had that ticket, and eventually they scheduled Rafa and Alcaraz doubles match, which they lost against the US guys. But yeah, no problem. It wasn't about Olympics that moment. It wasn't about you know them losing. It was just about watching Rafa play. Finally, after I've seen him play before also, but yeah, last 2 3 incidents when I had planned to watch him, not well in Madrid or even in Delhi Davis Cup and Rio as well. Yeah, even Alcaraz, I mean, was looking forward to watch him as well. So yeah, that was very special moment. The crowd, the atmosphere again was very amazing. Everyone was cheering for Rafa and Alcaraz. Yeah, ended the day on an absolute high note. 31st July.
Yeah, for me, I mean, 31st was the exact opposite experience. Definitely.
But what about 30th? Like, you didn't have
हाँ
any plans on
yeah, so
after
30
returning to
हाँ,
Paris?
so 30th का कोई खास plans नहीं था. We left after Manu's मतलब after the mixed team pistol, we left back for Paris. Drove back to Paris and हम लोग पहुंच गए थे. I think 3 4 बजे we reached Paris. We rested a little and then we did do, I think, the pretty much the only non-Olympic thing we did in the entire period of the Olympics, which was we went to this Moulin Rouge show at 11 p.m. in the night. तो वो उससे थोड़ा लेट जरूर हो गया. इट वाज फाइन. आई मीन इट वाज वन थिंग जो कविता को देखना था, मतलब माय सिस्टर कविता को देखना था. सो आई डिडंट ऑब्जेक्ट टू इट. इट वाज बुक्ड इन एडवांस. तो बस हाँ, वो शो गए, देख के आए. आते आते सोते हुए वक्त लेट हो गया था, मतलब बिकॉज इट वाज एन 11 to like 12:30 शो एंड देन वी केम बैक एंड वी स्लेप्ट, सो इट हैड बिकम अ लिटिल लेट. बट या, उसके अलावा नथिंग एल्स ऑन 30th. And coming to 31st, yeah, that was, I mean, my worst day by far. मतलब ये मैंने ज़्यादा बताया नहीं, and I don't think
The story, so इसलिए I'm laughing. But yeah,
मतलब ज़्यादा बता के फ़ायदा भी नहीं है. It will just take everybody down. But yeah, 31st को we started off with BMX. BMX पहुंच तो फिर भी गए. Somehow or the other we reached. It was fine. But this was actually, these couple of days were the times when Paris was reaching like 38 degrees or 40 degrees or something. It was like crazy hot, and we even asked taxi drivers and stuff, and they were like कि नहीं, इतना hot कभी नहीं होता है, बस ये 2 3 दिन पता नहीं कोई heat wave आई है, due to which it is so hot. Even they were saying in a couple of days the forecast is much better, but on this particular day the forecast was awful. And BMX कैसे भी करके हम लोग पहुंचे. And I remember we sat on the seat and within 5 minutes Kavita was like, I am going. तेरे को जो करना है तू कर. I am going. I can't sit in the heat. So she left. I did stay there for like half an hour. I did see the end of the women's event. So women's event मैंने देखा. I saw Chinese cyclist going down, falling basically, and we did see the medal runs. So the event was on itself pretty good. Seats were not the greatest. You could it was a little bit of an obstructed view, but the event was fun. But yeah, it was just too hot. But that is okay. उसके बाद रोलैंड गैरोस में तो जो हम लोग के साथ हुआ वो, it is next level. basically, to cut a long story short, what happened was we looked at Google Maps and Google Maps was wrong, and due to which we reached at a different gate. It's like we needed to reach gate 1, instead we reached gate 50, and that gate 50 was right next to Philip Chatrier. वहां से अगर चले जाने दिया होता तो we would have reached Philip Chatrier within like 5 minutes, but Roland Garros में security was very tight, they didn't let us go. और दूसरे स्टेडियम्स में जाने दिया है. सुबह ही BMX में I went from the long entrance, they were fine with it, but Roland Garros was not, and they sent us somewhere wrong के ये गेट से जाओ, and eventually it was a 6 kilometer walk from there. तो
I
जा
think it was also because you guys got late in reaching the gate.
नहीं नहीं, लेट का प्रॉब्लम नहीं था. वी रीच्ड ऑन रीजनेबली अमाउंट ऑफ टाइम, काफी टाइम था उसमें, बट वो डायरेक्टिव वहां से कर दिया. लाइक 50 से ही कुड हैव डायरेक्टेड अस टू 1 व्हिच वाज मे बी क्लोज बाय, बट इंस्टेड ऑफ डायरेक्टिंग अस टू गेट नंबर 1 ही डायरेक्टेड अस टू गेट नंबर 12 which was like 3 kilometers away. And then that gate number 12 से वापस you have to come back to this 50 because Philip Shatker यहीं पे. So it was like 3 kilometers going down and that too hilly, and then coming back 3 kilometers. तो ये 6 kilometer eventually we never completed. वो एंड में मतलब it was literally my dad had to be taken to the
You were
medical.
walking in these 3 kilometers,
6
or
kilometers.
you 6 kilometers, or
Yeah.
you still had your car or
No,
taxi
no,
with
I
you?
was walking. So we walked
Oh,
from gate number 50 to gate number 12, which was like a good 3 kilometers. And then वहाँ पे तो I basically almost fainted. A guy came and he got us into gate number 14. थोड़ा बहुत पास में, एकदम पूरा 12 तक हम लोग पहुंचे भी नहीं. But 14 was also right at the opposite end of Roland Garros. वहाँ से पूरा Philip Chatrier is right at the other end. So उधर से another like 2-3 kilometer you have to walk through stairs and whatever. And long story short, we never reached. So it was like Nadal Alcaraz ka match we never reached because my dad eventually he literally he got a I don't know what a heat stroke, or he basically got dehydrated. He मेरे dad का anyways थोड़ा problem है. He doesn't drink too much water because he's worried कि मेरे को toilet जाना पड़ेगा. So anyways he had drank a little less water than he should have, and he essentially fainted, and then we had to go to the medical bay. और फिर मेडिकल ने अच्छा खासा 1 घंटे तक पूरा टेस्ट किया, ईसीजी वीसीजी एवरीथिंग, एंड देन आफ्टर दैट या वी जस्ट लेफ्ट. वी डिडंट इवन स्टेडियम का अंदर भी नहीं देखा. सो वी वर कंप्लीटली डन ऑन 31st.
yeah.
एंड या
So yeah,
जस्ट टू कंफर्म
point
ही इज
being,
ऑल
there are
फाइन.
some days.
नो प्रॉब्लम,
Hmm,
मतलब हाँ,
go
जस्ट
on.
टू कंप्लीट, या डैड इज ऑल फाइन, नथिंग, बस वहाँ थोड़ा डिहाइड्रेशन हो गया, बट या इट्स जस्ट द वे इट वर्क्स. सो yeah, my worst experience by far was that day. The day also did break honestly a little bit of my spirit. I eventually got it back, but it definitely broke my spirit that day.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
I
yeah.
remember you calling me. I hadn't known all of this thing happened, and yeah, I think we spoke the next morning, right?
आई थिंक उसी नाइट
Uh,
को ही तूने कॉल कर लिया था. आई डोंट रिमेम्बर उस नाइट किया था या अगली मॉर्निंग किया था.
हाँ, ऐसे ही कुछ मतलब कुछ तो बात हुई थी हमारी, एंड देन यू टोल्ड
हाँ,
मी अबाउट एक्सपीरियंस, एंड
बेसिकली
देन
कविता ने ट्वीट कर दिया था कि वी नेवर रीच्ड नडाल अल्कराज. सो यू वर लाइक कि क्या हुआ, एंड यू कॉल्ड एंड आई टोल्ड यू एवरीथिंग, एंड आई एम लाइक ठीक है, अब देखेंगे जो होगा.
yeah, yeah,
या बट
yeah.
वन ऑफ दोज
So
बैड
that's
बैड
how
एक्सपीरियंसेस.
sometimes it happens. Yeah, because obviously it was pretty hot conditions. You always face long queues. You have to walk so much, and sometimes these unpredictable experiences also come along.
एंड
Yeah, we have to prepare for those also.
हम लोग का तो फिर क्या था ना, एट रोलैंड गारोस वी थॉट कि दिस वाज द एक्चुअल पाथ, कि मतलब टैक्सी वहीं तक जाती है एंड यू हैव टू वॉक एंड देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन. So because we thought we got to gate number 1, we had got to gate number 50, which was the exit gate, and from where we have exited in the end. So
Mm.
but we got to, like, we thought we got to gate number 1, which was next to it, but they had closed gate number 1 for some reason, and they were just directing everybody to 12. And basically हम लोग का experience था कि if this is what is there at every stadium, then Olympics is over. That was the feeling. But fortunately, that was not the case. It was just a one-off thing. And it was a bad luck. And yeah, we eventually did go to Roland Garros again as well. So that was like a nice moment. But ठीक है, यहाँ पे it was a very bad experience, no doubt on that.
ठीक है, ठीक है, चलो आगे चलते हैं, आई थिंक.
हाँ, जो फर्स्ट को एक्चुअली मैं बोल लेता हूँ पहले. फर्स्ट को मतलब आफ्टर द 31st फर्स्ट को वी जस्ट सोल्ड ऑफ ऑल आर टिकट्स. इंडिया बेल्जियम हॉकी प्लान था, फेंसिंग जाने का प्लान था, BMX रेसिंग जाने का प्लान था एंड में. कविता का प्लान था टू गो टू साची क्वार्टर फाइनल, for Sachi's quarter final.
We would
Everything
have covered 3 events that day.
that was the plan because
Wow.
that was how we, मतलब अब ठीक है जाते नहीं जाते क्या होता पता नहीं. बट मैं वही बोला ना, दी एंटायर एटीट्यूड ऑनेस्टली वो 31st के बाद थोड़ा चेंज हो गया था कि लेट्स नॉट पुश इट टू मच. 3 3 इवेंट नहीं होते हैं, थोड़ा आराम से जाओ तो मज़ा ज़्यादा आएगा. हम लोग का एटीट्यूड थोड़ा चेंज हो ही गया था. बट या फर्स्ट को इवेंचुअली इट बिकेम लाइक जस्ट सेल ऑफ एवरीथिंग. और एंड इट वाज नॉट जस्ट दैट, मतलब मेरे को भी बीच में चक्कर आने लग गए थे. कविता वाज आल्सो डन कि मतलब सो या फर्स्ट को इट वाज जस्ट सॉर्ट ऑफ अ कंसेंसस डिसीजन, जस्ट सेल ऑफ एवरीथिंग, बाद में देखा जाएगा. एंड इट वाज इजी टू सेल ऑफ. सो फर्स्ट को सब सेल ऑफ कर दिया. वी जस्ट टुक रेस्ट एंटायर डे, rejuvenated, watched everything on TV. बट या ऑब्वियसली फर्स्ट पीपल जिनको याद है उनको पता है कि फर्स्ट को एवरीथिंग इवेंचुअली हुआ क्या in terms of the performances. It was one of those dark days of
Disastrous day. Yeah.
disaster days of Indian Olympics. तो ठीक है, आगे तो बोल. तो मेरा तो फर्स्ट का उतना ही है.
हाँ, so मतलब obviously nobody anticipated it was going to be this kind of a day. मेरा दिन तो बहुत अच्छा start हुआ था. Traveled far off to watch water polo. It was a good experience. मतलब शुरू के 15-20 मिनट बहुत मजा आया. US versus Greece match. It was men's water polo. And it was one of the sports which I wanted to experience because TV पे देख के लगता है that it is very very physically straining and one of the very one of the uh, one of those sport which I feel that is very physically demanding. You have to swim, you have to use all your power to jump from the water, catch the balls, throw. So yeah, just wanted to experience that, and I think teams भी दोनों बहुत अच्छी थी. 20-25 minutes had just spent there, and then it was Nikhat's match scheduled. So while watching water polo in the background, started watching Nikhat ka bout. Obviously, we all know what happened there. It was pretty underwhelming from her side,
Yeah, I
and then
mean,
uske
I
side by
mean,
side.
I'll just add it was very disappointing. हाँ, मतलब you expected कि obviously Chinese is tough, but
Yeah,
जितना
he
one
didn't
side,
show up.
हाँ जितना वो one sided match था, nobody expected it. That is for sure. But
Yeah,
ठीक है.
yeah. So yeah, साथ में निकत का मैच चल रहा है, पीछे बैकग्राउंड में वाटर पोलो चल रहा है, एंड देन उसके साइड बाय साइड आई थिंक इंडिया बेल्जियम भी तभी चल रहा था. निकत का मैच एंड हुआ, इंडिया बेल्जियम कंप्लीट किया, एंड आई थिंक उसके 10-15 मिनट बाद सो मेरे टिकट में देयर वर 2 मैचेस आफ्टर US Greece. There was I think Spain versus Serbia or some match. So obviously didn't watch that. Left, ran towards badminton because वहाँ पे तेरा लक्ष्य
साची
वर्सेस
क्वार्टर फाइनल.
प्रणॉय था. हाँ, लक्ष्य प्रणॉय था. सातवीं क्वार्टर फाइनल था. एंड सिंधु उसी दिन था या सिंधु नेक्स्ट डे था शायद.
सिंधु आई थिंक उस दिन था लेकिन इवनिंग सेशन में था, तो आई थिंक तेरे सेशन में नहीं होगा शायद.
इवनिंग सेशन में था, नहीं वो भी मैंने देखा था. सो
ओके.
साथ में फिर लाइक आई थिंक साची से स्टार्ट हुआ था, लक्ष्य का मैच बाद में था, है ना. तो साची से स्टार्ट हुआ. Now imagine for someone who has followed badminton, and I in general, even if I don't follow, I love watching badminton. Men's doubles last 3-4 years because of Satvik Chirag. You watch so much. I've seen it so many times in Delhi also, Indian Open. Man, it is purely from a fan's perspective, it is absolutely full of entertainment watching men's doubles. And वो जो session था that started 3 courts, and on all 3 courts it was top 6 world ranked teams men's doubles playing all together at once. Now imagine, it was such a high note कि आपकी best की top 6 teams are all playing against each other, and it was crazy watch. Satvik Chirag started on a amazing note. They were playing pretty well, and then suddenly, towards the end, something flipped. They sort of froze. I don't know. Pressure got better of them, or they got overwhelmed because the atmosphere was that day, it was full of Malaysian chants, it was full of Chinese, Danish supporters were in high quantity. So yeah, it was feeling like a proper Olympic atmosphere which cannot be experienced even in a world championship sort of a event. Yeah, so that was the moment. I think when they lost, it was purely, like a very very
Jolt.
heartbreaking moment
Yeah,
for me.
Jolt.
Yeah, like a big jolt, and yeah, that was the moment I started feeling Jeetu Rai flashback also, that okay, this is happening again. It's not going to end well the way Rio was. We are. I'm just going to ruin my entire trip because this is not how it was supposed to be. I mean, retrospectively now thinking back, it was always possible because that's how men's doubles has been super close, right? All top 8 9 teams, and this was a result which was always on the cards, but still you had exceptionally high hopes from Satvik Chirag, and more than anything else I was actually gutted for both of them. The way they exited the arena with their heads down, and I mean, it just I couldn't stop my tears that day, even though I was, I had decided not to get emotional, but personally it felt like a huge setback. And I mean, so much so that SIF did not qualify for 53P, and it did not even bother me that much, to be honest. It was going on simultaneously as the men's doubles was going on, and you somewhere in the middle you got to know that she's not going to qualify because she had a pretty bad kneeling series itself, and then she
Hmm.
lost another 2-3 score in prone also. So she was done in the middle of the qualification, but it did not register that much that we have lost another major gold, potential gold rather, not even a medal. But yeah, that's how I can recall that day. It was disaster. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean
You want
similar feelings only. Sachi का वही था. I mean first game में they were looking like really they were just gonna breeze through, and then things started going bad. And yeah, Swift का even I felt that way. मतलब it barely even registered कि वहाँ पे क्या हुआ. And okay, in my case थोड़ा बहुत वो भी है कि when it comes to shooting, I mean I never really had extremely high hopes from any particular shooter. मुझे मतलब शूटिंग में हमेशा ये लगता है कि it's all about the day, and obviously you have high hopes from Swift because she was doing well, but I don't get that surprised when let's say a Swift performs very badly and a Swapnil Kusale in the morning has won a medal, and
yeah,
while an
which
Aishwarya
I
Tomar
totally
missed out.
missed. Yeah,
Yeah, while an Aishwarya Tomar, missed out. So because that's how shooting goes, all our shooters are great, and some of them are more consistent than others, but that consistency doesn't mean कि वो एक particular दिन पे आने वाली है. And Sift basically never really even got started. मतलब
yeah.
right from the beginning she was just never in the hunt. तो वो लगा ज्यादा वो साची का ही लगा, Sift का इतना नहीं लगा. And yeah, at least the morning had started great, right? मतलब Swapnil Kusale medal nobody expected. He had a
Mm.
great final. He was always in the middle, and then he squeezed out a medal at the end. So that was it. Started on a very happy note. और स्वप्निल के मेडल के बाद लग रहा था मतलब शूटिंग कैन रियली ब्रेक थ्रू ईयर कि तीन तो हो गए, मे बी चार पांच भी कर दो तो it can really just explode from here. Unfortunately that explosion didn't happen later, but
Yeah, I remember tweeting the morning, like first key morning go, that I don't have any rationale, just have that feeling that both Sift and Anjum are going to qualify for the finals.
नहीं, that was eventually our weakest event, right? 50 meter 3P, I mean 25 meter rapid fire में भी finalist नहीं आया, but both of
Hmm.
them were in the hunt. यहाँ पे तो मतलब सिर्फ तो बिल्कुल hunt में थी नहीं, and अंजुम was also very difficult. मतलब you were just hoping against hope कि maybe कुछ हो जाए, but she wasn't, towards the top of the rankings right through. And
Yeah.
obviously, while the event was going, major ध्यान तो साची पे ही था, which
Mm,
also went by. Plus
yeah.
निखत का हो गया, so it punched you right at the एक एक करके. You had first Nikhat, then you had Sachi, then you had Sift. It
Yeah.
punched you. उसके पहले India Belgium भी, after playing a pretty good match, we came up short.
Mm, yeah.
So it was like Swapnil. मतलब I was taking solace कि ठीक है चलो एक medal तो आया है आज in the morning. Swapnil and okay, at least I am watching on TV and मेरा I'm still reeling from what happened yesterday also. So मेरा थोड़ा वो भी feelings थी यहाँ पे. So not
Yeah.
as invested as I would have been in on any other day.
Yeah. I missed out on Swapnil's medal because I missed out on talking about it because
देखा ही
one, I
नहीं.
could not see it.
Hmm.
I was in the train, did not have any connection, so could not stream it. And then last के 10 minute I called up my wife back home. उसने मेरे को थोड़ा सा लाइक साथ साथ वॉच अलोंग कराया कि अभी ये चल रहा है ये चल रहा है, एंड दैट इज हाउ आई कुड रजिस्टर कि अच्छा चलो ठीक है एक और ब्रॉन्ज आ गया. एंड उस टाइम पे लाइक यूर राइट, इट जस्ट फेल्ट कि हाँ शूटिंग से तो मेडल आ रहे हैं, इतना कोई एक्स्ट्रा ऑर्डिनरी ऑनेस्टली नहीं लगा. इट जस्ट फेल्ट गुड कि हाँ ओके ग्रेट दैट यू एडेड वन मोर ब्रॉन्ज मेडल नाउ.
ठीक है, चलो फिर आगे बढ़े. फर्स्ट इज डन.
या. So yeah, second, I think second was for me mostly about again running from started with uh, watching a historic moment, India beating Australia. That was my first hockey experience in Paris. That was pretty memorable. And then already you were, super exhausted, out of energy because it was very hot. Hockey stadium as such, if you don't have ticket in that A stand couple, you
हाँ
are
वो टॉप था.
done.
हाँ, by the
So
way,
yeah.
yeah, so just to clarify that, hockey में you had this situation where there was on the four sides of the pitch, there was a roof on only one side. So I think it was one of
Mm,
those cases where under the roof they had like permanent seats and then they had created three temporary stands around it. I don't know if that was the case, but yeah, they had roof on only one of the four sides and which was the A category side. तो मेरी सारी टिकट वहीं पे थी as it turned out. But yeah, I could see कि अगर वो धूप में it could have been pretty bad.
yeah. So yeah, from hockey, then by the way, in that hockey only, during that hockey match, got to know Manu has qualified for 25-meter pistol, and that is where sitting in the hockey stand watching hockey decided that we need to be as in there was one more person, Nitish, who had just come to Paris from New York. He was sitting. We decided that let's go for Manu again back to Chateau, and eventually a few of us who were in Chateau earlier had also eventually planned for it, booked their tickets respectively, and we decided we'll go for Chateau one more time the next day for Manu's final. Booked the train tickets as well, and then the moment hockey ended, ran to archery, which was again very very far from hockey. uh, and
I think
the
तू सिर्फ
another
फोर्थ
reason
मैच में
was
आया.
फोर्थ मैच में आया
फोर्थ
because
प्लेस मैच में
उनका
आया, मतलब थर्ड प्लेस
हाँ
मैच में. हाँ,
ब्रॉन्ज मेडल वाले मैच में
या
राइट.
ब्रॉन्ज मेडल मैच में पहुंचा तू जस्ट लिटरली.
हाँ, सो मैंने बेसिकली आर्चरी और हॉकी में ओवरलैप था. आई डेंट सेल द आर्चरी टिकट्स व्हिच मेनी डिड in the hope that if they reach bronze medal match, I will have to use my 3 months of fitness exercise that I've done before going to Paris. I'll somehow leverage that, run as much as possible, which is what I did. Because you would remember, right, from hockey field till station, it was a pretty long distance. So yeah, kept on running, reached archery, sat there for bronze medal match for about 30 minutes or so. And then the moment that ended, went back to badminton for Lakshya's quarterfinal against Chen Tian Chao, which again I felt was very, very high quality match. And I tweeted about it that, so much of live badminton I've watched and so much of Indian players I've watched. But yeah, I've never seen such a high quality match from an Indian badminton player, including women's singles. The kind of match Lakshay played, because Chentian Chow was playing his regular match, and on his days he's sometimes very difficult to break.
Break, yeah.
Laksh was relentless. He never bogged down. He kept on going, committed again, committed less errors, and was taking his game to Chen Tianchao. And like ultimately, he was able to break down, which was, yeah, something that you generally don't get to see, very often from our Indian context. And yes, of course, Shrikant has played some amazing quality of matches, considering the situation at the highest level of sports if you're bringing such kind of game. So yeah, hats off to him.
Yeah, ठीक है. So my experience was different here. मतलब I didn't have the guts to do with what Vaibhav did, run from here and there, which is obvious. So yeah, my plan was just to go to the archery. So it was literally like morning में you see कि just round of 16 जीत लो. Round of 16 अगर तुम जीत रहे हो तो at least I'm going for the quarters, semis and finals. So round of 16 we are watching on TV and just hoping that they can come through so that we can go at least for one proper archery session, quarterfinal, semi-final, final. Luckily, they came through reasonably easily in the round of 16, and we went for the archery. It was a nice stadium. It was hot, but luckily that day there was a quite a bit of breeze going around here and there. I still remember tweeting out के ठीक है ब्रीज चालू हो गई है लेकिन ब्रीज चालू होते से इंडिया वालों की फटने लग जाती है तो इट वाज लाइक मिक्स फीलिंग्स यार कि धूप आए तो यार ठीक है दे विल डू वेल लेकिन धूप आए तो अरे यार कितनी धूप आ रही है so it was that mixed feeling there but yeah ठीक है we enjoyed the archery. Um they won the quarterfinal. And by the way, the archery stadium was completely taken over by the Koreans. Yeah, we realized shooting where we were discussing right that Korea won so many medals, but there weren't too many Koreans cheering over them. Matlab, we Indians were completely outnumbering them. But the archery stadium was completely taken over by the Koreans. Yeah, all you can see are Korean flags everywhere, completely taken over. And yeah, so it was archery is always extremely fun to watch. The match
It's
format.
not very spectator friendly also. Like ultimately you have to watch in the screen only what's going on.
नहीं
Because इतना register नहीं होता ना.
नहीं आई थिंक तू थका हुआ ज्यादा था बट अदरवाइज टारगेट दिख रहे थे अपनी सीट से
नहीं
मतलब यू
नहीं
कुड
टारगेट तो दिख रहे थे, बट मतलब इट्स नॉट वेरी एंटरटेनिंग एज सच.
मतलब ठीक है यू कैन से मतलब या दैट मूवमेंट इज नॉट देयर जो बैडमिंटन में होता है या हॉकी में होता है या व्हाटएवर बट एटलीस्ट आई रियली एंजॉय वाचिंग आर्चरी द मैच फॉर्मेट एंड मतलब इवन नॉन इंडिया मैचेस में मजा आ रहा था देखने में यू नो बिकॉज इट्स वेरी इट चेंजेस ऑन अ डाइम राइट इट चेंजेस ऑन वन एरो So overall, देखने में definitely मजा आया and winning the quarter final was definitely a bit of a historic moment. Even though somewhere you know कि fourth is very high chance in archery, कुछ भी हो सकता है, but still just the fact that they won the quarter final at least got to the medal matches itself was felt like a moment. And yeah, then obviously the semi-final में they gave Korea a really tough fight. I think we won the first set. Korea का ये था by the way. कई matches में देखा they started a little slow in the first set, but they used to recover. So I think we won the first set against Korea जितना मुझे याद है. But yeah, the final bronze medal match was honestly extremely disappointing.
Yeah.
मतलब two of those sets started with a seven. I think from Ankita Bakat, she clearly felt the pressure. धीरज ट्राइड टू डू व्हाट ही कुड बट धीरज का भी एक आई थिंक बीच में अपॉर्चुनिटी था कि had he maybe even hit a 9 we could have at least salvaged 1 point and 10 maybe could have salvaged 2 points but it came to an 8 so it's not like it was all Ankita but yeah I
No,
will
it
say
was all Ankita, Kapil in that bronze
नहीं नहीं
medal.
एक था एक धीरज का हुआ था कि इवन मतलब उसमें क्या हुआ कोरियन का एरो वाज नॉट इट वाज दैट स्टार मार्क थिंग कि 7 स्टार 8 है या क्या है यू डोंट नो सो यू डिडंट नो फॉर श्योर बट द वे इट केम आउट कि इट वाज इन द एंड धीरज हिट 1 8 आई थिंक इन द एंटायर मैच एंड दैट 8 डिड कॉस्ट अस अ सेट सो ठीक है इट वाज नॉट but yeah largely it was Ankita who was really feeling the pressure and that was one match where ये डेफिनेटली फीलिंग आया कि दे डिडंट बिलीव इन द मेडल They didn't
Yeah.
believe they could do it. So that bronze medal match was definitely very disappointing. But yeah, till then,
Also, another differential factor was Brady Ellison being Brady Ellison.
हाँ ठीक है, but I don't think it
Matlab,
was.
he did not shoot a single arrow below nine. I think even nines were just couple of them. Rest
लेकिन
all were 10 only.
yeah, but मतलब at least the feeling I got was कि मतलब पहले ही यादों पे सीधा 7 ही मार दिया. At that point the set is done.
Of course, Ankita,
हाँ
मतलब वो the
और फिर
way she performed in semis, quarterfinals, she
in the
wasn't
bronze medal
herself.
match. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she did well in the quarters and the quarters round of 16. She did well. Semis also they gave a decent fight to Korea. मतलब not mind blowing or anything, but they gave a decent fight to Korea. But yeah, वो 7 आते से it was like you know what's happening. और फिर ब्रेडी के ऊपर भी pressure नहीं रहता right once you hit a 7 because it was I think दोनों बार it was like the first arrow of the set. Okay, straight away you know 7 मारा and that was end of the set. So yeah, उस हिसाब से the bronze medal match definitely left disappointing. It felt like you know they just didn't believe. If they had been a little more confident, a little more calm, maybe something would have happened. But it is what it is. I think archery का you know if you look at the history of archery, अगर 2012 से देखें,
Why are we going into
नहीं
history of
नहीं
art?
नहीं हिस्ट्री नहीं बोल रहा हूँ मैं जस्ट ये बोल रहा हूँ कि if you look at it, लंदन में we lost every match in the first round. Rio में we had a couple of archers in round of 16. Then Tokyo में we got a couple of archers in the quarterfinal. And this time now we have got fourth. So
Yeah.
it's like it is
So
like the
what are
slowest
you
progress you
implying
can
here?
take.
Huh? What are
No,
you
I'm
implying?
just
Are
saying
we
it's
going
the
to medal next Olympics? Is that what
hopefully
you're implying?
hopefully, but I'm just saying it is like it's like there is progress, but it is like the slowest progress theoretically possible slowest progress you can make. Okay, it's like you know first round then round of 16 then quarter final then semi final. मतलब इतने 12 साल हो गए बहुत स्लो चल रहे हैं यार हम ये बोल रहा हूँ मैं
Um,
एंड
thanks for breaking the news.
and yeah archery के बाद लक्ष्य का मैच I watched in the that what is that Coca-Cola food fest kind of thing जो राइट आर्चरी के बाद में था तो वहां बैठ के फोन के सामने देयर वर अ कपल ऑफ स्क्रीन्स जहाँ पे कुछ फ्रेंच जूडो और फ्रेंच टाइक्वांडो चल रहा था एवरीबॉडी वाज cheering for that और हम लोग है ना कोने में बैठ के अपना लक्ष्य सेन का मैच देख रहे थे while eating
Hmm.
nachos and all. So yeah, it was obviously a great match जैसे तू already बोल चुका है. Nothing much to add there. But yeah, that was my second.
Yeah. Yeah, so then moving on, 3rd August. So badminton tickets, women's singles quarterfinals got sold off because obviously Sindhu would not qualify.
नहीं
Had
नहीं
another
नहीं नहीं एक
box.
मिनट एक मिनट वुमेन अच्छा वुमेन्स क्वार्टर फाइनल्स ओके हाँ ठीक है.
Hmm. So I had two boxing quarterfinal sessions on 3rd in the hope that Nikhat is going to feature. So obviously she also, could not qualify. So sold off this boxing quarterfinal also. Later on, went for Nishant's quarterfinal. So I mean, it could have been Nikhat also in that same
Hmm.
session. But yeah, it meant that my entire first half of the day got free, and eventually Manu also reached the final. So third morning, then I moved to Chatrio for a day trip. Came back in the evening, rested for a couple of hours, and then moved to Nishant boxing towards the night. So that was about 3rd August. Then 4th August was primarily badminton. In the morning, firstly had Lakshya versus Axelsen semi-final, which I felt was okay. I mean, Lakshya could have done better, but yeah, playing Axelsen in Olympics takes a lot, and you have to be a potential gold medalist to beat him, which clearly Lakshya wasn't at that level. Also, I mean, he's not there yet. Then the midday session on that badminton, I actually had medal matches for men's doubles. Like I said, I enjoy watching men's doubles quite a lot. I've done that for last 3 4 years. Even though Satvik Chirag exited, there were some bad memories attached to it. I still decided to go ahead and watch, just for the fun of it. Obviously, wasn't expecting, it would end up being such a historic session with Wang Chiling and Yang winning consecutive gold. I mean, what a crazy story that is, right? Nobody has ever done that in Olympic history. and you do that twice being a nobody in men's
Hey,
doubles,
nobody is a
where
little bit too much, but okay.
no, it is. They were not medal contenders this time. They were not medal contenders. At least they were medal contenders last time, but nobody was expecting them to win a
Gold.
proper medal. ठीक है, they were coming in form. All of those things were there, but they hadn't proven themselves. ठीक है, so all of those things were there. So yeah, pretty good session that was, and then started with my athletics program. Uh, First athletics day, men's 100 meter, fantastic race, one of the fastest overall race. It was a very close one as well. And Noah Lyles won it. There were other events also along with it, which I can't recall right now. But yeah, both third and fourth. That's how third and fourth were for me, couple.
Yeah, third again. I just went to Nishant's boxing. Even I had the previous boxing session, but Nikhat didn't reach, so वो sell off कर दिया. Boxing में I will just say this, मतलब ठीक है, निशांत का match everybody has seen and everybody has their opinions. I definitely felt at the end of second round kick might be over, but yeah, you can't really say much about boxing. It is the way it goes. The one thing I will say about boxing is at least I felt, I don't know about you, but मुझे लगा कि boxing live जो देखने में मजा आता है ना वो टीवी पे नहीं आता है. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, of course. It's different. I
हाँ
mean, obviously, atmosphere adds to it, but even if you discount the atmosphere part,
हाँ
just purely boxing, so yeah, it is clearly more fun, and you can see the punches clearly. You can see which boxer is dominating the other boxer, and but वो है, it does not mean that you still come out with different perspectives. For instance, Kapil was of the opinion that Nishant won the match. I was of the opinion that Nishant lost the match, and it was a right decision. So we still had, a disagreement there, and that can boil down to both of us disagreeing on every other thing. Also, that's
hmm,
also there.
hmm.
But yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah, so हाँ, so I mean just talking about that only. So मतलब boxing में वो definitely वो feel आता है. मतलब as long as you are not like extremely behind, uh, वो definite feel आता है. Seeing just two people standing there in front of your eyes and punching each other and movement and everything. मतलब I kind of got the feeling कि why boxing is so popular in US and other places and why it gets so much eyeballs. मतलब समझ में आ रहा था कि बॉक्सिंग में there is that let's say carnal thrill on watching just two people punching each other. So and it was also one of those sessions where where I actually watched six bouts, so including Nishant ka 6 bout dekha. So I actually watched a lot of non-India bouts as well, and a lot of them were fun. The last bout we watched was the
French
French
versus
girl Vasila
Turkish.
against Philippines, and yeah, the
Yeah.
French were going completely crazy. मतलब हम लोग के सामने there were like a couple of people जो तो मतलब आए ही थे पूरे ready with all being cheerleaders. They just got stand up and they went to the aisles and they were like cheering everybody and they had their some I it was not drums but they were somehow making noise. I don't remember exactly how, but yeah, so it was a great atmosphere. India Nishan ke match maybe there were a lot of Mexican support as well, at least in my stands.
More than Indians for sure, yeah.
So but people told me on TV it felt like it was more Indian support, but in the stadium it definitely felt a little more Mexican support.
Yeah.
I said I don't know if it's maybe just my stand, but at least मेरे stand में Mexican support ज़्यादा लगा. And yeah,
Mm.
Nishant
I
obviously
mean,
it's
overall, also they were louder than us. That's for sure.
I'm not too sure about that. I think numbers were higher. I don't think they were louder than us. That's my opinion at least. But yeah, हाँ boxing में और वो another thing also I felt in general मतलब the design of the stadium was also excellent. मतलब I had like category C seats, but the view was excellent,
Mm.
and that is
It
something
was a
which
compact stadium, no? You could sit anywhere and the view would have been decent enough.
exactly हाँ. So मतलब वो थर्ड को वो फील मतलब बॉक्सिंग में वो फीलिंग आया जो अभी तक दूसरों में नहीं आया था मुझे कि इट्स लाइक डिस्पाइट द सीट्स बीइंग चीप सीट्स द व्यू वाज क्वाइट एक्सीलेंट. So
Mm.
yeah, that was boxing and देखने में मजा आया, but yeah, the result was disappointing. And
Yeah, and but I think it was a deserved result only. I was disappointed that he had his opportunity. And it wasn't just about bronze medal. He could have gone, all the way till
Yeah, yeah,
final also
huh.
because the draw was fantastic. But yeah,
Huh.
he let loose his steam a little towards the
End
second
of the
half of
second
the
round.
second round.
Yeah,
Yeah,
second.
yeah.
Yeah, I will agree. There was a little bit of a letting off steam at the second half of the second round, but still, second round I still felt was his because I don't think the Mexican did anywhere. And if you look at Twitter and other stuff as well, I think most people are saying that the second round how it didn't go to Nishant, it was a little weird, but okay, it is what it
But
is.
then first round went to him.
हाँ
That was
फर्स्ट
also
राउंड
weird
या
only.
फर्स्ट राउंड में यू कैन डिबेट बट ठीक है वो एनीवेज वहाँ पे बायस भी होता है देयर इज नॉट मच पॉइंट डिबेटिंग दैट उसके बियॉन्ड मतलब फोर्थ वाज एटलीस्ट वन ऑफ माय बेटर डेज I started off with the hockey quarterfinal, India versus Britain, and obviously the result was great. The it was a match which went through a journey. Okay, so we obviously know Amit Rohidas got red carded, and then everything that happened, and the at least the shootout was awesome. And yeah, I will say this that while match देखने में मजा बहुत आया, it was one of those matches where if you are in the stadium, you don't want to see India defending all the time, which is what they did for 45 minutes. So the narrative thread of the match was great. Ki we are defending this with 10 men, and they scored that one goal, which was huge. Or tab hai na, there was a loud cheer when they scored that one goal, even with 10 men. But yeah, on the whole, on the match, you can say, if you have gone to the stadium, you don't want to see India defending for 45 minutes. But yeah, overall, the match was great. And after that, that was actually one of the experiences when a lot of players also, came to us after the match. We were like right in the front of the stands, and I shook hands with a lot of players, a lot of selfies as well. थोड़ी selfies, I guess I can show you. कहाँ गई मुझे ज़्यादा सेल्फी नहीं मिली कविता को ज़्यादा मिली बट या shook hands with a lot of players. So here you can see this is Rajkumar Pal, Manpreet, Mandeep, all these guys, and a number of other players also came over. So we shook hands, we congratulated them, and uske baad we went to the non-India highlight of the games for me, which was back to Roland Garros, and this time we had done let's say better
Is that
research.
Laksh and Vimal Kumar? Is it?
Yeah, that's this is also by the
They
way in
were
the
in
hockey stadium.
hockey.
Yeah, I think it was the semi-final. I'm not 100% sure which match, but I think it was the semi-final. That's right
Hmm.
after Lakshya lost, right? Fifth को Lakshya हारा, and then sixth को semi-final में these two had come.
ठीक है,
And
we'll talk about pictures also if there is some time left.
हाँ ठीक है, so
Courtesy you.
हाँ तो उसके
If
बाद
you can
फिर
cover up थोड़ा जल्दी.
and उसके बाद then went to Djokovic Alcaraz, obviously. So Djokovic Alcaraz, this was like redemption for missing out Nadal Alcaraz doubles. So it was a lot of fun. Uh, And again, this was again the other thing, हम लोग की एकदम पीछे सीट थी, like right D category or something, but the view was still awesome. And I remember in Rio में वो feeling नहीं आती थी जो यहाँ पे आती थी Roland Garros में, despite being in the back seats. And of course it was a great match. अभी तक पहला first set याद है, first set मतलब खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा था. It was like every game Djokovic and Alcaraz just fighting tooth and nail. And yeah, it was an amazing match, amazing final. And I definitely was surprised also by the fact that how much tennis expects the crowd to stay silent when the server is serving.
Hmm.
तुझे कभी लगा ऐसा? Because I haven't seen that in any other game. They literally,
I mean,
it was literally like कि अगर एक भी बंदे ने कुछ चू कर दिया तो the Djokovic will stop serving, and the umpire will warn him or whatever.
yeah, I mean, just as an example, Wimbledon has quite please all over its, promotional campaign, its merchandise everywhere. That's how prominent it is.
Hmm.
कि वहाँ पे quite please इतना बोला जाता है in the middle of the matches that
Hmm.
it has almost become like a synonymous thing with Wimbledon. यहाँ फ्रेंच ओपन में भी तो साइलेंस ही वो प्ले बोलते ही हैं.
हाँ नहीं नहीं वो
इतना ही
सुना ही
बोलते हैं.
था लेकिन मतलब जिस लेवल का था आई डेंट एक्सपेक्ट कि मतलब आई एक्सपेक्टेड कि
Yeah,
ठीक है
tennis is
क्लोज
a
बाय
little different that way. Yes.
हाँ कि क्लोज बाय सीट्स वाले ओके स्टे साइलेंट और व्हाटएवर, लेकिन इट्स लाइक लास्ट रो से भी किसी ने जब जोकोविच बॉल बाउंस कर रहा है लास्ट रो से भी किसी ने चिल्ला दिया ना, सो ही इज गोना स्टॉप एंड ही इज गोना लुक एट द चेयर अंपायर कि उसको चुप कराओ.
हाँ,
सो
they get accustomed to such
हाँ,
kind of
true.
playing conditions,
वो
right?
तो वही है,
So
it's got used to whatever. But yeah, it was just something I experienced which hadn't experienced before. But yeah, मजा बहुत आया and we finally got to see the clay. जो है ना 2 दिन पहले तो क्ले की शक्ल भी नहीं देखी थी.
mm,
चलो
yeah,
आगे.
good stuff. ठीक है. So where are we?
5 को
5th of
पहुंचे.
August, right?
I think both of us went to the mainly the same one, right? कि तू और भी कुछ
Uh,
किया है. अच्छा नहीं, तूने तो बहुत कुछ किया है.
हाँ, 5th को I think I started with I got lucky with a couple of TT tickets. By couple I mean I had another friend also with me. So we went for TT India versus Romania. That I think वहाँ पे भी category D ticket मिली and we were in a stand which was at the extreme opposite end of where the Indian team was playing. Forget the table, we couldn't even see the scores also. So we basically didn't know what's going on. So again, the same sort of I'm just losing out my chain of thoughts here. Same strategy we adopted. We thought that let's go and hunt for a another seat, and we tried and just went as close as the table on which Indian team was playing, and we saw there were the men's TT team seated there. Aika was seated there, and there were a couple of free chairs there, free seats there. Just went and sat there. Nobody questioned. Was the entire match seated just a few seats adjacent to them. Fantastic view, fantastic match. I think Romania was fourth seeded, and we all of our girls played punched above their weight. Manika's both the matches were pretty solid from her, even though Srija lost, I think, right?
Yeah, I think Srija
Archana
lost. Yeah.
also lost, and we won doubles and both the Manika
I
singles.
think
Yeah,
we went 2-0 up और फिर 2-2 हुआ और फिर मानिका वन दी लास्ट का मैच जहाँ तक मुझे याद है.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so all of those things were there. Congratulated, the men's team after
Women's team I think.
the men's team won. Told them all the best. Congratulated Aika also. Obviously, she wasn't very happy not being a part of the team, the not being a part of the playing three. So yeah, overall ended on a very good note. And then from TT, we moved to badminton for Lakshya's bronze medal match, which I think, yeah, like honestly, I'm not very disappointed because that was always on the cards. It's just that it happened in Olympics and it happened after the way he has been performing. So it sort of felt like a huge setback, but that's how he's always been. Right from his junior
Hmm.
days, nothing has changed. No matter how talented he is, you can always have such a day where he will lose out on, no beat any position in the match he is. He'll just switch off, lose out on those 7 to 8 consecutive points, and then he's done after that. And clearly, Lizia was under more pressure. He was feeling the heat. He knew that he had more to prove, considering him being an independent player and more. Uh, so, and Malaysia not having a lot of medal prospects in Paris. But yeah, Lakshya just allowed him to get into the game, and then once he started catching his rhythm, started catching the momentum, he never looked back. So basically, that's how it happened.
Yeah, I mean
So move.
badminton. I mean before you go to athletics, I guess yeah, I can also add badminton. में मतलब I was definitely more disappointed. I mean if you're saying it didn't feel disappointing, I definitely was disappointed. And it was the only event I saw that day as well. Lakshya ka match, and yeah, the way he started, it was really looking nice, and it looked like it can happen, and then suddenly at somewhere in the middle it just completely changed. मतलब उसके बाद he just didn't, even his body language, it didn't seem confident. There were of course both Indian fans as well, Malaysian fans as well, तो ऐसा कुछ एडवांटेज नहीं था आइदर साइड को. इनफैक्ट मैक्सिमम आई गेस डेनिश फैंस ही थे. The stadium was overall taken over by the Danish fans. But yeah, there was support on both sides. Like it just didn't happen. Once it started going bad, you can even see from the body language of Vimal Kumar. You know, he was getting angry. कि क्या कर रहा है. But yeah, we have seen this
हाँ
before
मतलब
from
वो
Lakshya.
obviously frustrating situation तो थी because he had absolutely no reason to lose that match
Yeah,
and still he
exactly.
lost.
And by this point, at least मुझे now the fourth places are starting to hit. Because you've had Manu fourth place, you have had Arjun fourth place, you've had Nishan didn't go fourth, but he lost in quarters. You have had the archery fourth place. So at this point, those fourth places are really starting to hurt. You have
Which
had
is
Skeet ka,
okay. I mean, if you're putting your athletes in medal positions and they're not performing their best, there are always going to be chances you'll end up with a lot of fourth positions. Even going forward, we just have to get used to it. I think we as Indian sporting ecosystem, be it media, be it athletes, I don't know about athletes, people who are in administrations, and more so us fans, we are so obsessed with this fourth position. It's okay. No, rest of the countries don't even register it or talk about it.
हाँ, but
I
वो तो
just don't get that. Why are we so obsessed with this fourth
we,
position thing?
yeah, we are obsessed with it because we are not happy with the number of medals, right? It's as simple as that. We are
Yeah, and also the
basically.
obsession comes from a historic standpoint also.
Yeah, and मतलब ठीक है, we have had this discussion before also. I mean, I have always felt कि at the end of the day, as a nation, we are embarrassed by just 6 medals or 7 medals. We are as a nation, we keep thinking कि we should be like in the top 10 of the medal tally or whatever, and we are nowhere close. तो वहाँ पे वो medal का obsession ज़्यादा आता है, जिसके वजह से fourth hurts even more. But
But
yeah,
वो पर्सपेक्टिव रखना भी जरूरी है ना. You can't just totally ignore that perspective that fourth position are increasing because you're putting those athletes in middle positions.
yeah, but at the same time, they are also taking more pressure than the others, right? वो भी एक factor है. मतलब
Huh?
why is
That is there. That is there across. I mean, across the sports, across the events. It's not just during those medal situations.
but I think वो middle situations में pressure ज़्यादा आता
ज़्यादा होता है, ठीक है, ज़्यादा
है.
होता है,
And
no
we are
doubt.
not being able to handle it.
Yeah.
Yeah, skeet mix भी था. Skeet mix भी I think इसी दिन था, which is also just missed out by one bird. Where okay, they performed well. It was against China, and it was anyways overperformed, so it is okay. But yeah, ठीक है. So Lakshya, the match was enjoyable to watch, of course, because it's badminton and uh, they, मतलब it was a good match. But yeah, it left disappointing only in the end. के it felt the momentum change हो ही नहीं पाया. एक बार change हुआ, उसके बाद change हो ही नहीं पाया.
Hmm.
ठीक है, तू बोल आगे तेरा फिर मोंडो एंड सेबल.
Sable. Hmm?
सॉरी साबले. Why do I say Sable?
Yeah, anyways. So yeah, उसके बाद the athletics happened. Obviously, uh, Mondo was one of the best experiences. Literally, the roof was taken off. Also, rest of the events were ended. It was just Mondo and his three attempts. The entire stadium was focused on. Because athletics, में so many things going, keep on going simultaneously. You can't focus on one particular event all the time. But yeah, very one of the again highlights of the entire Paris experience. It was crazy, crazy, crazy. All the fan bases across countries were cheering for him. Not just Swedish fans or the Europeans. Couple of talking points on Sable. I think yeah, like I just have mixed feelings around it because yes, he qualified for final. He sort of made his own history that he's the only one to qualify in 3000 meter steeplechase men's, and he seemed very happy, very relieved that something that he could not accomplish last year in Budapest World Championship, he eventually did. But yeah, there is the other part also which says that he could have done better. Uh, just a couple of weeks before Paris, in Paris Diamond League, he had run a national record, given his personal best, had beaten another instance, had beaten the Japanese in that race. And here he lost to him in both qualification and even the final. Could not perform that well. Yeah, there was some more like the ultimate feeling was that he could have done slightly more and not just like a 18-15 race, 8-15 race. I mean, 8-15 in itself is a pretty good decent mark, but yeah, that was about fifth. Sixth, I think we'll talk about it separately. Do you want to talk about fifth,
Yeah, I mean, I'll just add
as
few.
you've
Okay,
already spoken about it?
I've spoken about fifth, and I watched Mondo on TV, and on TV also it was excellent.
Yeah.
Matlab, the entire the atmosphere and the build-up you could feel through the television screen as well. That's all I'll
Yeah.
say. सिक्स का तुझे चालू करना है कि मैं करूँ?
सिक्स्थ का मैं क्विकली बोल देता हूँ. सो आई हैड विनेश क्वालिफिकेशन टिकट्स. फिफ्थ को ड्रॉ केम आउट दैट शी इज फेसिंग सुसाकी. So decided not to sell it off also, but not to go because everyone was thinking that she's going to at least get a repechage chance. And seventh morning, along with Antim, there is a common session where Vinesh and Antim will going to are going to feature, and you can simply watch it. And then if she qualifies for bronze medal match, you can go for seventh evening also to wrestling. That was the simple rationale, along with water polo and rest of the events, fencing, beach volleyball. Sport climbing was also one of the sport which we wanted to experience, so we had tickets for that just to see how the sport roll. So we had just reached there, sat for 10 minutes. Vinesh's match started, and we all know what happened there. And the moment match ended, me and my friend suddenly exited the stadium, started running towards Sham de Mars where the wrestling matches were. Vinesh's next match was still 40 minutes away, and it showed that if we take a taxi, we can reach in 35 minutes. And then we thought that maybe there is some delay which will happen, and somehow we might get lucky and might be able to watch at least one bout, right? We started running, hired a Uber, and then that's a whole lot different story that we could never reach, only even closer to the wrestling venue. Sat somewhere in the middle of the road on a bus stop and watched her match, watched her bout there. And then, once that ended, we started moving towards hockey semis against Germany. So that's how the day went for me at least. Couple.
Yeah, मेरा भी similar stories. मतलब eventually I went only to the hockey, but plan वही था कि I didn't have tickets, but I was planning कि maybe I'll buy Vinesh tickets and go to wrestling in the morning. And एक थोड़ा ये भी था कि when the hockey semi-final happens, whether it happens in the afternoon or whether it happens in the evening. So that was also I was waiting for that before I buy Vinesh tickets. And then the Vinesh draw came out, and it was that same feeling. कि it's like Suzaki के साथ पहला match है, so she's probably gonna get teched out there, and then she'll make the repechage next day. And next day की ticket already है, where it was Antim with a round of 16 and quarterfinal, and Vinesh would be there in the repechage, so that's good enough. You don't need to buy Vinesh ka morning ka ticket just to see her go one match against Susaki, which might even end in 1 minute or whatever. But yeah, what she did was amazing. And for me, even though I wasn't at the stadium, for me, this was my favorite moment of the entire Olympics. Where I still remember, even before the match started, I sort of commented कि मतलब Suzaki is so strong कि she might actually just even roll over and let Suzaki go through and then focus on tomorrow and save us then for tomorrow. But she came with a strategy right through the match. कभी लगा नहीं कि the strategy is gonna pay off. She was defending all the time. जब passivity आई तब भी she didn't care. She was like, okay, I'm gonna give away the passivity point, but I'm not gonna give anything more. And then it was getting to the end, 40 seconds, 30 seconds. Even then she was not starting to attack. 30 seconds पे भी नहीं था. I was like ठीक है क्या कर रही है, I'm not sure. 30 seconds पे भी attack
We
नहीं
are
हुआ.
used to we are used to seeing Indian wrestlers in such situation where they wait, they do plan sometimes to attack towards the end, but that also never happens.
हाँ कभी होता नहीं. And 30 seconds पे भी I was like पता नहीं क्या कर रही है, maybe. And then at 20 seconds she suddenly started, and I'm like ठीक है okay. And then the moment it happened when Susaki fell, I mean, my mouth was ah. Yeah, my mouth was like that for the good, I don't know, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I didn't know what happened. It
Yeah.
was full. It was the moment of the games. Okay, how did this happen? And Vinesh's celebration showed it, right? What it meant. I mean, for a lot of people, it might be, well, it's just a round of 16. But for anybody who's followed wrestling, you know what that meant. Okay, Susaki beating Vinesh, and the moment it happened, उसके बाद भी Susaki did a challenge, and it was like नहीं नहीं ये challenge तो फालतू है, हो गया. Once it was confirmed, then everything started. कि अब करना क्या है? Because now everything has changed. Now she can go to the gold medal match. We have to go to the tickets. Everything started. And Kavita बार बार chat में बोले जा रही है कि I told you Vinesh will win. I told you Vinesh will win. Her reaction was more like अरे जीतेगी ना, मतलब जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि हर बार जीतेंगे. It was not. She also didn't really believe it, but ठीक है.
It's quite simply put, the greatest, obviously one of the greatest moment in Indian Olympic history, but the greatest upset that an Indian sporting
Yeah,
team or a individual has done,
at
for
the
sure.
Olympics, though, for sure. Even
At the
outside, you'll.
Olympics, of course, yeah.
नहीं, even outside, I don't think you'll find too many. मतलब
हाँ
it
मतलब
was.
ओलंपिक्स पे है at the highest level, तो obviously it becomes naturally across. That's also
Yeah, so it was an amazing moment. And उसके बाद, yeah, by the time she won a quarter final, we had already purchased tickets for the final the next day. It was clashing with Mirabai's weightlifting, and while a lot of people like Weber was again planning to run from one place to the other, that was not an option for me. So it was actually a tough decision, which I decided, okay, I want to go for weightlifting, but I can't leave the gold medal match. So विनेश की टिकट खरीदी थी, चार चार टिकट which eventually obviously went waste, the based on what happened in next day. But yeah, we had planned to skip Mirabai weightlifting and go for the Vinesh match. And one of the best experiences I still remember I had sitting in the hockey semi-final. Uh, Hockey semi-final started pretty much along with Vinesh ka semi-final. So
yeah,
that
right.
was, sitting there watching Vinesh का semi-final. और इंडिया का गोल भी तभी हुआ था. I remember the goal happened during the
गोल
semi-final.
पहले हो गया था बिकॉज आई थिंक वो पहले दूसरे या तीसरे मिनट में ही हो गया था.
नहीं, बट गोल हुआ था while the match was going on, जो एटलीस्ट मुझे याद है. तेरे को
हम्म.
मे भी पहले का याद होगा. बट ठीक है, मुझे एटलीस्ट याद है कि द गोल हैपेंड मे बी जस्ट बिफोर द मैच, और मे बी लाइक इन द फर्स्ट कपल ऑफ मिनट्स ऑफ द विनेश मैच एज वेल. तो ऑनेस्टली गोल देखा, लेकिन इतना ठीक से नहीं देखा, बिकॉज आधा ध्यान विनेश पे था. एंड एंड दिस वाज आल्सो बाय द वे द फर्स्ट कंफर्मेशन ऑफ द मेडल सिंस द थर्ड मेडल, जिसके बाद से इतने सारे फोर्थ प्लेसेस आए जा रहे थे. सो it was one of those best days for me. ठीक है, semi-final the match was great, the result was not, but the match was definitely a lot of fun. We had Indian fans, we had German fans, we even had fans from some other countries who had bought a semi-final ticket and they didn't sell. I remember at halftime, some Belgium fans took our flag and were waving the Indian flag during halftime. And because the flag colors are the same, we actually thought they were Germans, waving the Indian flag during halftime just because. And then we later found out that they were actually Belgians. But yeah, that last 54th minute goal was the disappointing part. But uske alawa, it was a great match, and we were all ready for the shootout. So it
Yeah,
was definitely a big disappointment and a big.
yeah, it
Uh,
felt opportunity lost only end of the match.
but yeah,
We could have
honestly,
taken it.
yeah, but honestly, I was still high on Vinesh getting to the final even after what happened. So it
Yeah,
didn't
and
hit.
more than for Vinesh, I mean more than India adding to its medal tally, the happiness quotient was primarily from her getting that coveted
Exactly.
Olympic medal for herself after she's been through so much, and not just 1.5 year. ठीक है, all of that is totally a different story, but just from a sporting perspective, she's gone through so much. The injury in Rio, the debacle in Tokyo. So yeah, the delight was purely and purely for her. That okay, Vinesh is an Olympic medalist now.
And the way she also did it, beating Susaki. I mean, I'll just add that to
Such
that.
a historic manner.
Yeah,
Okay.
so even after that, we were, मतलब, ठीक है, obviously hockey hits you, but Vinesh was getting us through that, even through that loss. And yeah, ठीक है, फिर अगला दिन बोलो.
अगला दिन तो क्या I mean I was still sleeping. My friend woke me up. He tells me, I mean, he doesn't have a lot of context in terms of how the competition format works. So he was just checking on Twitter. He tells me that oye, Vinesh couldn't make her weight. लाइक अरे यार उसका पहले भी प्रॉब्लम रहता है. अच्छा खासा गोल्ड का चांस था एंड लाइक सिल्वर से काम चलाना पड़ेगा. दैट्स व्हाट आई एम थिंकिंग एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई टोल्ड हर. And then 2 minutes after that, he tells me it's written that she's going to get disqualified and l- on the last rank, and she's not going to get a medal also. And that is when everything sort of came crashing down. And that was the moment, at least for me, my Olympics was pretty much over. Not even a Neeraj Gold 90 plus throw would have resurrected it. Nothing. It I mean, I did try and enjoy, the moments which followed after that. But yeah, for me, I mean, I can't just forget that feeling, and it will obviously be, whenever I remember Paris. Of course, there are a lot of good memories to take away from it, but that will always remain on top. Call me a pessimistic person or whatever, but yeah, that's how it is.
Yeah, I mean similar. I mean, I also, मतलब, I woke up, I had already got dressed. I was ready to go to Anthem's match, which was on my schedule, and I was all ready. And just आके I picked up my phone, and phone में there was like कि some कहीं से मैसेज आया था, विनेश गॉट डिस्क्वालिफाइड, एंड लाइक ये क्या बकवास है, कुछ ऐसा ही होगा. देन आई सॉ एंड देन धीरे धीरे इट हिट कि व्हाट हैपेंड. एंड या इट वाज अ हॉरिबल मोमेंट कि ये क्या हुआ. एंड आई टोल्ड कविता, उसको भी पहले यही बोला. शी इज लाइक ओके सिल्वर मिल गया ना. आई एम लाइक नहीं, सिल्वर भी गया. शी इज लाइक व्हाट द हेल. एंड इट वाज लाइक उसके बाद ऑनेस्टली अंतिम का मैच जाने में मूड भी नहीं कर रहा था, बिकॉज अगेन इट वाज रेसलिंग थिंग कि विनेश का इतना सब कुछ हो गया. एंड ऑब्वियसली विनेश से देयर इज एन इमोशनल कनेक्ट because of everything that has happened both on and off the field. So but somehow we dragged ourselves to the अंतिम मैच. ऑब्वियसली तब थोड़ा बहुत ये भी चल रहा था, प्रोटेस्ट करो, ये करो, अपील करो, ये करो, वो करो. बट या इट फेल्ट लाइक द रूल इज वेरी क्लियर, कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. एंड somehow we dragged ourselves to अंतिम कि ठीक है, अब जो है सो है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. एंड देन अंतिम, द वे शी लॉस्ट, आई मीन performance wise, I think it was definitely,
One of the worst,
yeah,
yeah.
her and maybe Amit Pangal are the two which spring to mind. Really, really, really bad
At least
performances.
Amit
Firm
lost to a
contenders.
better boxer.
I will dispute that better boxer claim.
And he
Best.
was better on that day.
हाँ ठीक है, that
I'm
way.
not
Okay.
saying in
अच्छा,
general he's a better
नहीं,
boxer,
but Amit should have been better, na. So that's the
but
performance how it
it
comes,
could
na.
have gone either way also. There was this contention as well, right? Because it's not like Amit was overwhelming favorite in that bout. It
Yeah.
was supposedly a banana peel for him.
Yeah, I agree, but still, I felt कि मतलब given the draw he had, it's like you have to defeat somebody, right? वो वाली बात है कि
Uh,
अगर you had Zambia, then you had what I think some sea, I don't even remember, some island nation after that.
he
Uh,
had a decent draw, yeah.
yeah, so given that draw, I mean, if you can't come to that, then किसको हराओगे, वो वाली बात हो जाती है. But ठीक है, anyways,
Uh,
before getting into
and
that,
then
हाँ, अंतिम का performance obviously, whether she was injured, whether she had a weight cut issue, whatever. But yeah, अंतिम का performance eventually was so disappointing. I remember कि जब हारी, तब उसके बाद next match फूजी नामी का था, and I didn't even remember कि next match फूजी नामी का था. We just got up and we left
uh,
immediately the moment. एक तो वो विनेश का already हो गया था, you were feeling down, And then the way अंतिम lost, मतलब एक second भी सोचा नहीं, we just got up and we left. And then once I come down the stairs, I heard कि okay Fujinami next match. I'm like अरे यार Fujinami का तो देख लिया होता, she's a legendary athlete. At least I could have seen one more match. But yeah, it सूझा भी नहीं वहाँ पे कि it's like wait for one more match.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was wrestling.
Yeah, I think overall, I don't know. I mean, my learning here is obviously you have to have some. Is it us Indian fans who get so emotionally attached, or is it because we have only selected few where we can pin our hopes on? That's what makes it more emotional. But yeah, we need to learn to somehow get emotionally disconnected and move on. And you definitely are much better in doing that than me, or that's how I feel. But yeah, we need to learn. I at least need to still learn it so that you end of the day you're going there to enjoy, right? You're going there to support your Indian athletes, to cheer for them, to do something that you've always loved. Okay? But yeah, enjoyment shouldn't stop, but it somehow stops for me at least.
नहीं but
I
I
don't know
think
what you think about it.
नहीं but I think it's fine. I mean, there's that saying, pain and pleasure go together. It's like if you
Mm,
if you don't feel sad, you're not even gonna feel happy.
mm,
Lot of people say ना कि
true.
it's like result मत देखो, कर्म करो and everything. But yeah, यहाँ पे हमारा कर्म तो है नहीं, हम तो बस पीछे से आवाज करने वाले हैं. So it's like if you're not gonna feel sad on the losses, then even the joy on wins is not gonna
Won't be
be
that much.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not gonna hit you. You can't have it
true.
both
True
ways.
that. That's one way to look at it. Yeah.
Yeah, and उसके बाद फिर obviously we went to Mirabai. Decent performance. Definitely expected much more after that snatch. 88 का snatch होने के बाद we were definitely all expecting more in the clean and jerk. It was very clear after the snatch कि it's between those top four girls. And again वो feeling थी कि वापस हम लोग ही fourth होने वाले हैं क्या, and it happened. But yeah, should have been better. The moment she missed her first clean and jerk, I think I got really scared. कि पहला वो जो clean and jerk miss हुआ ना, I think that was the turning point. Had she lifted that 1-1-1 in that first attempt, I think she would have come out possibly not with a silver but with a bronze, because silver eventually Campbell lifted a lot. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, and the other thing weightlifting में फिर ये भी हुआ कि obviously mood अभी already सबका थोड़ा खराब हो ही गया है. वहाँ पे फाइनल चल रहा है जिसमें विनेश है नहीं. And at least in weightlifting was, I will say one thing just from an experience perspective, it was the one stadium which was not designed well. The view was not good. I mean, I had A category seats, the costliest seats, and my half view was blocked by a cameraman. And it was not just me. I was seeing कि कहीं पे भी बैठ जाओ, ये cameraman भयंकर बीच में आने वाला है. They had like they had very badly placed cameras which was blocking the view of everybody. So उस हिसाब से भी थोड़ा मजा वेट लिफ्टिंग में कमी आया. But ठीक है.
Mhm. Yeah, I think for me, I have a little stronger opinion that I don't think it was decent performance from Mirabai. It was pretty clear that fitness wise, she's back to her normal self and back to being close to her personal best also, which was evident from snatch. It's just that it was as I had in my mind, and I had even discussed this a couple of times in our live stream also. The moment you switch on the competitive intensity, she falters, and that's what happened, right? She, I don't know how many times she would have lifted more than 112 in clean and jerk, which was the bare minimum weight that was required. And all of these reasons I'm quoting because she's a defending Olympic silver medalist, multiple times world champion medalist, and she I don't know. I mean, it was pressure only that got better of her, that she couldn't complete those, two clean and jerk lifts. So yeah, overall, for me, considering that she was back to being fit again, considering she had a very decent chance of getting that bronze, and she could not because that's how she's always been. That she does not perform well when there is high level of competition. I left with a huge amount of disappointment, specifically from Mira, even if I discount, what happened earlier in the day.
Yeah, I mean, I will just contest the fully fit thing. I'm not sure. Matlab, I judge whether you are fully fit or not based more on how did you perform. And yeah, it was, you can say on that basis कि okay, she lifted 88, उस हिसाब से she should be fully fit because that's
And
like
she's starting with 112 in clean and jerk. That
111. Yeah.
again,
That
111.
yeah,
So
that's
that again is an indicator where you are at in terms of your fitness.
but that could also be a case of jostling for the medals, right? You have to even show your competitors कि you are fully fit. So वो भी थोड़ा factor आता है. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if she was fully fit, and we never know कि whether she was or not. But if she was fully fit, then yes, 111 was definitely very disappointing. But I I went with low expectations honestly, क्योंकि मेरा हमेशा ये होता है कि I always assume कि if you have not been able to demonstrate your form before the Olympics, it's possibly especially due to fitness reasons. The more likely scenario is it's probably not there. So I mean, I generally don't
Yeah,
believe
but
that she's gonna be fully fit.
that's again our way of thinking, right? I mean, there are numerous examples of so many other sports persons who would, still be able to overcome such a situation. And in her case, all of us know that clean and jerk is her strength.
Yeah, she could not
That
do it.
is not, right?
But I think वो थोड़ा वो भी है. I think I remember तूने snatch के बाद बोला था कि it's like bronze तो पक्का हो ही गया, medal तो आ ही रहा है. And I was
मैंने
like,
बोला था ब्रॉन्ज पक्का है if she's able to. So you started contesting on the WhatsApp group also, even without reading the entire message.
नहीं
In
नहीं तूने यही बोला ना कि
I said,
112 प्लस पे आ जाएगा.
हाँ तो did she lift 112
नहीं
plus?
but the feeling at least I got after reading that message was कि 112 तो उठा ही लेगी आराम से. That's the feeling
If
I got.
she is able to lift
हाँ
112
ठीक है
plus, because
maybe that's what
you
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 meant.
get you got that feeling that even Thai is not doing that great. मुझे थाई का था कि probably she is going to be a little far ahead of Mira, which wasn't the case.
हाँ ठीक है, you can say, but yeah, I was always more worried कि चार में अभी भी कुछ भी हो सकता है. But ठीक है.
Yeah, like
Uh,
we can't be contended for someone like Mira. We can't be contended that okay, you're not performing your best and still it's a good performance. Anyone else, I would have given it to them, but yeah.
ठीक है. Eighth.
Eighth again, yeah. Aman qualification in the morning. So yeah, he that was pretty good again. Both his bouts, he was able to dominate in both. It was a good
Definitely,
watch
definitely a little lucky in the second one. Huh?
in the sense.
मतलब the opponent Albakarov, he definitely was not there. He was
Uh,
he
he was
basically, well, even before in
he
that,
was not 100% fit, is what you mean, right?
no, not even 100%. He was like barely 1%. He was at that level. उसका previous match भी, it was like some against some Guinea-Bissau wrestler who's basically comes through a universality quota or whatever. And Guinea-Bissau के सामने he barely won 7-6. People on Twitter were like, with his eyes closed, he can win 10-0. He clearly had a horrible weight cut, which just about got him on the mat, but he was not really there on the mat. And he has, by the way, tech Taman, right? Just before the Olympics, जो recent event, I don't remember which series, ranking series or whatever. He's a former world champion, and he had tech Taman 10-0. And then he
Mm.
got tech to Aman 10-0. And even the way he was moving, you could see that he's not there. So Aman, so matlab wo
ठीक
at
है,
least
somewhere at least we had to get lucky, right?
yeah. So I definitely felt that कि Aman का medal was definitely matlab obviously he performed very well. You can compete only against the people who stand in front of you. It's not your fault if they don't show up. But yeah, his medal was definitely a bit of a lucky medal in that sense. कि Albakarov was not there, and even another Iranian who was like a world silver medalist, he missed weight altogether. So he
Yeah,
gave a forfeit in
he he didn't come through repechage.
नहीं नहीं he didn't even play his first match. पहले मैच में ही forfeit कर दिया था. First day he only missed weight.
I mean, he would have come through repechage अगर वो 4 feet नहीं करता ना, most likely.
वो तो अब
He
पता
would
नहीं, वो
have
तो सिल्वर मेडलिस्ट है, he could have got to the
Higuchi
final
versus
himself.
Iran.
हाँ, हिगुची को
Against
हरा भी
Higuchi, he would have faced in quarterfinals. No?
आई थिंक हिगुची के साथ ही शायद पहला मैच था, आई डोंट नो पहला मैच था या क्वार्टर फाइनल था, बट या ही कुड हैव इवन बीटन हिगुची वाज मतलब ठीक है, हिगुची वुड हैव बीन द फेवरेट बट ही कुड हैव इवन बीटन हिगुची देयर.
Okay, fair enough. Let's move on.
हाँ, सो अमन तो हो गया. अमन के बाद ऑब्वियसली दी हॉकी ब्रॉन्ज, या हॉकी ब्रॉन्ज डेफिनेटली इट वाज वेरी enjoyable मैच, एक्सेप्ट के आई स्टिल फेल्ट इन द मैच कि मे बी थोड़ा बहुत वो विनेश का हैंगओवर अभी भी था. एंड इट वाज वन मैच वेयर आई फेल्ट मे बी द इंडियंस वर नॉट एज वोकल. तुझे मे बी ज़्यादा लगता है कि इंडियंस आर नॉट एज वोकल, बट एटलीस्ट उस मैच में मेरे को लग रहा था कि इंडियंस वर ट्राइंग, लेकिन फिर भी आवाज़ निकल नहीं रही थी. The first quarter, or the first, let's say, up until the goal, basically, up until the goal started coming, I at least felt the atmosphere was a little quiet. Also, the fact that even the hockey team itself was a little disappointed after missing out the semi-final. So I think वो भी थोड़ा factor था. But yeah, by the end, it had become a great match, and I still remember in the end cheering for Shrijesh. जो लास्ट के दो तीन पेनल्टी कॉर्नर आए थे, विच वॉज अगेन रिमाइंडिंग यू ऑफ टोक्यो, वेर वी वर अ गोल अहेड और लास्ट में पेनल्टी कॉर्नर है और वहाँ पे कुछ भी हो सकता है. एंड इट्स ऑल ऑन श्रीजेश, एंड उसका लास्ट मैच था, सो पीपल रियलाइज दैट. एंड या, सो इट वॉज डेफिनेटली वन ऑफ दोज रिलीज मोमेंट्स इवेंचुअली. You felt very happy. Obviously, we would have loved to go to the final, but still back-to-back bronze medals in hockey, and the players were also definitely happy. We got a nice selfie with Harmanpreet afterwards. Uh, I can show, I
बाद में
guess.
दिखा देना. It's okay.
बाद में दिखा देंगे. But yeah, that was the hockey experience. Started off a little weak, at least for me, but yeah, by the end it was a great match and one of the nice memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I think not just fans. I mean, hockey team also was a little hungover from that loss.
Hmm.
So they also took some time to get into their rhythm, and शुरू के 10 मिनट तो लग रहा था कि हाँ मतलब they just need to somehow not concede, because Spain team was a little more dominant, and uh, after 10 minutes eventually, and especially in the second quarter is where I felt that our team started coming back,
Hmm.
and then that hunger could be seen, that motivation was slightly coming back. And yeah, it was a good match. And दो तीन चीजें मेरे को अलग जो लगी, आई डोंट वॉच अ लॉट ऑफ हॉकी, सो आई डोंट हैव अ लॉट ऑफ comparisons, but one thing was pretty clear, that obviously defensively we've massively improved. Secondly, there were a lot of long balls in all the three
Aerials
matches.
also, especially, right?
Yeah, aerial long balls in all the three matches. There were exceptionally high number of aerial long balls, and I don't know, can't sort of connect the dots here what sort of strategy that was, but that was pretty evident. Maybe because they were on the back foot defending a lot of majority of the time, so they were sending their strikers up towards the other half, so that if they are able to catch one of those balls also, they have like a good counter attack. I don't know if they were able to score also using this strategy in any of the matches. I don't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
actually,
was.
it's a change. It's an attacking strategy now. I think there has been some sort of either change in rule or maybe just an interpretation change. क्योंकि पहले क्या होता था, when you do an aerial ball, so if the aerial ball is falling in an area where let's say India ने aerial ball मारा, and the aerial ball is falling in an area where the Indian player is close, but the opposition is also like just let's say 1 meter 1 feet behind or little behind.
5 5 feet.
नहीं, 5 meters का तो वो पूरा रेंज है कि 5 meters में इफ यू हैव, तब तो इट्स योर्स ओनली, यू कैन नॉट चेंज. एंड यू बेसिकली, या सो वही बात है, यू कैन से 5 meters, चलो. सो 5 meters में अगर दूसरा प्लेयर है, so then it used to be कि if both players can take the ball, then you have to leave it for the opposition. But I think the rule has either slightly changed or the interpretation has slightly changed, where it's now easier to give the ball to your teammate, and the opposition can't obstruct easily. Pehle it was easier for the opposition to claim the ball, or they had to be, uh, let's say आज की डेट में they have to be much more nearer for the opposition to claim the ball, as it used to be earlier. So it's actually an aggressive tactic, because if you give a ground pass, then the opposition can intercept. But if you give an aerial pass, which is falling at the right place, the opposition by law cannot now intercept. So you can take it and you can control it and you can move it forward. So it's ये
Mm.
actually इसका कुछ article भी आया था कि there is a slight change in either rules or interpretation. I'm not too sure there's a
I
rule
mean,
change.
it depends on philosophy only, right? Some teams, usually, largely, the majority of the teams build up from the back, and then that's how they take their entire play forward, right? Because the more you do aerial balls, वहाँ पे conversion तो आपका हमेशा ही it's pretty low.
नहीं, I'm not too sure about that. In fact, I can tell you, I watched
That's how
three.
it works in football also.
हाँ, but
There are
फुटबॉल
specific
इज
few teams which used to follow this strategy, but वो बहुत उसका conversion बहुत कम होता था.
हाँ, बट फुटबॉल डिफरेंट है, राइट? फुटबॉल में देयर इज नो सेफ्टी इशू, राइट? यहाँ पे एरियल बॉल में सेफ्टी इशू होता है, जिसके वजह से
बट
यू
यहाँ
हैव
पे भी
दिस
तो
रूल.
देखा ही ना, how many aerial balls were actually you were able to convert those into
आई थिंक इफ यू
outcome.
आई थिंक इफ यू कैलकुलेट दैट वे ना, कि एरियल बॉल्स हाउ मेनी ऑफ देम रिजल्टेड इन पेनल्टी कॉर्नर्स, यू विल गेट अ प्रीटी हाई रेशियो. एंड देन फिर पेनल्टी कॉर्नर
And
कन्वर्जन इज
what
कंप्लीटली
is a
डिफरेंट,
pretty
राइट?
high ratio for you? 20%?
नहीं नहीं, मतलब कंपेयर टू द प्रीवियस, लेट मी जस्ट पुट इट दैट वे. सो आई डोंट
हाँ,
नो.
compared to the previous
एंड
is
ट्वेंटी
okay, but
परसेंट से तो आई थिंक ज़्यादा है. 20% इज वेरी लो टू बोल रहा है. I think it's much
okay.
higher. And in fact, I can tell you, I've even seen cases where there is one player, there is another player. Okay. Let's say there's Harmanpreet on one side, there's Mandeep on the other side. Harmanpreet can pass along the ground to Mandeep. Okay. There is a path there and it's not that crowded. He can pass along the ground to Mandeep, but he instead chooses to pass aerially to Mandeep. Because if he passes aerially to Mandeep, the other players are now not allowed to disturb Mandeep until he has brought the ball under control. But if you pass along the ground, then the other players are allowed to intercept. तो ऐसे मैंने एटलीस्ट कुछ केसेस देखे हैं where they have not done a
I
ground
think it
pass and
was
actually
mostly
aerial pass.
German who was doing the aerial passes,
नहीं,
and
हरमनप्रीत ने
थोड़ा
भी बहुत किए हैं. हरमनप्रीत ने बहुत किए हैं.
अपने एक्सपीरियंस से बता रहा हूँ जो मैंने
ठीक है.
देखा, it was mostly Jarmanpreet. And थोड़ा ये भी होता है ना कि even if Harmanpreet is doing, you have to have those kind of players also in your team who can do such aerial passes.
Yeah,
तभी you
obviously.
can make it as a part of your strategy also.
But it was definitely a deliberate part of a strategy, no doubt on that.
हम्म, हाँ वो तो yeah, it was evident.
And yeah, hockey के बारे में I think the other thing which can also I can say is कि when you watch it live, you also appreciate the midfielders more. Did you get that feeling? कि at least I appreciated the midfielders more, you know. ठीक है, हार्दिक तो सबको दिखता है, but you see कि how much Hardik does the running and how much he's the heart of the team. And you even notice players like, you know, Rajkumar Pal, Vivek Sagar Prasad, whom you don't really notice on TV.
Yeah,
Okay, at least
obviously
I got
they
the feeling.
majority of the running they only do
हम्म.
from end to end.
हाँ, तो वो
Yeah,
लाइव में
वो
दिखता है
तो
जो टीवी पे
मोस्टली
नहीं दिखता है. हम्म.
टीम स्पोर्ट्स में सब में ऐसे ही रहता है, बीट हैंडबॉल, फुटबॉल, आई एम श्योर इवन रग्बी आल्सो, आई डोंट
या,
नो.
चलो फिर एथलेटिक्स बचा है मेनली. और क्या खत्म ही है उसके अलावा. या, आई थिंक वी इवन टॉक्ड अबाउट अमन. आई वेंट फॉर टू द अमन ब्रॉन्ज मैच, बट वी हैव already talked about Aman. He
Yeah,
did very well given the circumstances and pulled it out in the end as well. So एक I think athletics ही बचा है mainly.
yeah, athletics में तो as always is the case. I mean, everyone knows about what Neeraj is, what he does, and there's just one thing. Obviously, it was one of the first tickets that everyone who was in Paris, every Indian fan would have bought it. So yeah, we were in huge numbers, and another shocker only personally for me. I can't pinpoint exactly because it came from Arshad Nadeem who represents Pakistan, or because it was Neeraj losing out on gold, or because I was sitting right on the that small box which has OR written on it, like
Mm.
right on the line where Olympic record was erstwhile. But the moment that second throw happened from Arshad Nadeem, yeah, again it wasn't heartbreaking, but it was huge shock. Like
Yeah.
fuck. I mean, this shouldn't have happened, and now it has. Gold is,
Gone.
I think, gone. But yeah, let's see what he does. It's just that he should be, happy, healthy, and some disaster should not happen. But yeah, in fact, when Neeraj also threw, so you don't get to see those lines which are visible on TV screen. On the field, there are no such lines,
Matlab
right?
there
And
was a
you
s-
add
huh, there was a 75-meter line and an 85-meter line, but no 90-meter line.
85. Yeah, yeah, and you anticipate what the measurement is going to be. And to me, it clearly felt it was 90 above. And then you saw it on the screen, you realize, ki, okay, it's the usual one of those 89 throws he's been, doing in all these major events, 88, 89 throws. So yeah, overall it wasn't a very great event for Neeraj. I think all his rest of the throws were foul only, except for that 89. And yeah, his body language changed the moment Arshad Nadeem came up with that Olympic record throw. He was clearly won't say nervous, but yeah, he wasn't comfortable. It was visible on his face, and thoda, I don't know. I didn't enjoy that session after that. Let me just put it that way.
I think similar
I'm
feeling.
not ready to believe it also, honestly, till now.
Yeah, I think similar feelings only. Once that throw came in, ना, it was well over the OR जो Olympic record का जो mark था, and it was very clear कि इसने 90 plus तो मारा ही है. And then the score came up, the actual distance came up 90 to 97. So that was like practically 93 meters, right? So yeah, at that point the gold was done. मतलब you're saying body language of neither changed. I think the body language of every Indian in the stadium changed at that point.
True,
कि
true.
ओके गोल्ड तो गया, वी आर स्टिल होपिंग नीरज फेंक ही देगा कभी ना कभी, बट इट वाज लाइक एट दैट पॉइंट ओके नाउ वी आर कंपीटिंग फॉर सिल्वर. 90 to 97 नहीं होने वाला है. एंड या आई एग्री विथ यू, व्हेन ही डिड थ्रो हिज सेकंड थ्रो, तब मुझे भी लगा कि दिस कुड बी अबव 90. आई वाज नॉट कॉन्फिडेंट, but it looked like this could be above 90, but we again slightly short, just the way things have gone for them. But yeah, overall still, a great silver. He did his part. Even though he had his injury issues, he still pulled out his second best throw of the season, uh, second best throw of his career up till that point. And yeah, you can't fault him because that's his distance. He has obviously faulted himself enough uh, in the interviews and everything, and he clearly says कि I can do much more. Uh, Hopefully he can one day, but as of now 89, 88 is his level. And yeah, उसके अलावा javelin in general event देखने में मजा आता है, but yeah, the gold hunt was basically gone once that 92 hit.
Gold hunt was gone, and I
And
think
also
one
कि gold
didn't tend to
chances were
enjoy
gone.
the competition also. It was a great competition on that day, Javelin ka.
नहीं मुझे मतलब ठीक है, वो वाली बात नहीं थी जो होती अगर वो थ्रो नहीं हुआ होता, but I at least still enjoyed it. And another javelin was another event where it feels like the experience live and the experience on TV is very different, because live में
TV
you.
में you hardly get to experience it only live.
नहीं नहीं, आई एम सेइंग चलो लेट्स से अगर ओलंपिक एक्सपीरियंस भी देख लो, वेर यू हैव अ javelin focused stream, या वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप देख लो, यू हैव javelin focused streams in वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप एंड ओलंपिक्स, राइट? आई एम
Hmm.
सेइंग उससे भी कंपेयर करो तो आई मीन what you see on TV is the thrower running and then throwing, and then you just see the javelin falling. But in live, you can actually see the entire trajectory of the javelin, and you can, the moment it leaves the hand, you are getting a feeling कहाँ जाएगा कहाँ नहीं जाएगा. Then
Yeah,
sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. So that experience is definitely very different
yeah.
from
He
watching on
wasn't
TV.
getting. Neeraj wasn't getting the right angles also, right? Couple of throws came at a very
Low
less
angles.
excellent angle. Yeah.
मतलब ये तो था, ये राइट थ्रू द इवनिंग था कि नीरज का ट्रैजेक्टरी वाज मच फ्लैटर देन द अदर्स. सो
और अरशद नदीम के तो दो तीन बिल्कुल ही ऑलमोस्ट लाइक राइट एंगल उस पे जा रहे थे.
हाँ, बट वो तो क्या, वो उसकी मतलब उसका वही पॉइंट है, शी हैज दैट वियर्ड टेक्निक व्हिच nobody else has. जब भागता है तब तो लगता है कि ये क्या ही फेंकेगा, and then he uses all his shoulder and he throws it. So ठीक है मतलब
टेक्निक है भी या नहीं पता नहीं,
वो
मतलब
क्वेश्चन
there's
मार्क
a
ही है
lot of
मतलब यू
questionable things around him.
या सो whatever it is, but ठीक है eventually 89-45 you. And हाँ, one thing I will say is a lot of people were like, तूने भी जैसे बोला कि नीरज के 5 fouls थे और वन था, मतलब at least I got the feeling कि once that 90 to 97 happened and उसके बाद नीरज ने second throw में अपना 89-45 मार लिया, which got him in silver medal position. I think he was trying a little too hard after that. So I think because of that also
He was, yeah, he
you
looked
saw.
frustrated.
So because of that, trying a little too hard, because he knows, right, he now needs 93, not just 90, he needs 93. Otherwise, silver to आएगा 89-45 पे. So that fouls, मतलब lot of people are talking about that fouls, but those fouls were the reason of that. You are now giving everything, so just try and get that exact perfect throw where you are maybe 6 inches behind the line. So if your aim is to be 6 inches behind the line, then you're gonna cross it most of the time, which is
Yeah.
what was happening with him.
It was a pretty unique situation for him also, right? For the very first time, he was finding himself in such a unique situation.
नहीं मतलब ऐसे तो वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में भी हुआ है, ओलंपिक्स में नहीं हुआ है, बट वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप में भी पीटर्स ने काफी आगे थ्रो कर दिया था पहले, द यूजीन वन व्हिच आई
काफी
वॉच्ड.
आगे, it was just 90 only.
आई थिंक 91 होगा मे बी, बट या नॉट 93 फॉर श्योर. 91 होगा शायद, बट हाँ, नॉट 93. So yeah, that was the experience overall. And yeah, overall mixed Olympics जैसे बोला था, uh, not the greatest, but still pretty good. Enjoyed a lot.
So yeah, what else did you have? Aman Bronze was the last event for you.
हाँ, Bronze was the last event for me. And yeah, it was an enjoyable day. Yazdani को भी देखा, he got injured. He was wrestling with one arm. And yeah, this was one of those matches where I was pretty confident. I guess out of all the matches, I think this was one match where I was pretty confident that Aman will get it done against the Puerto Rican wrestler. And yeah,
Hmm.
he came through, right through. He was in the ascendancy. कभी भी डर नहीं लगा कि ये मैच जाने वाला है. Calm, comfortable, cool. The one thing which I tweeted, which I definitely didn't like, is these UWW coming up with this ridiculous new rule के वो flag के साथ celebrate सिर्फ gold medalist को करने देते हैं. So Aman really tried to, he got a flag and he wanted to go around the ring, but the referee really just threw him out of the ring
Yeah, it
basically.
wasn't just for him, right? It was
हाँ नहीं
applicable for the rest of
नहीं
the
हाँ
country
नहीं, so I'm
also.
saying that only कि I didn't like the rule. That's what I'm saying. इसी ने मैं बोला ना, rule पसंद नहीं आया मुझे.
Hmm.
But yeah, because you Sakshi ki photos abhi tak, photos and videos are still there everywhere, and you won't have that equivalent photos of Aman because flag के साथ उसको जाने नहीं दिया. But ठीक
Yeah.
है. And yeah, he was happy. He gave interviews after that. He was raising his arm, thanking, जितना celebrate कर सकता था without doing that. He also had his flag outside the ring. So yeah, it was definitely an enjoyable session. और मतलब वो especially at least ये session देख के बाद लगा कि ओके wrestling देखा, बिकॉज अंतिम के मैच में तो इट वाज लाइक कब आया कब खत्म हुआ पता ही नहीं चला.
Cool. ठीक
चलो
है. For me, there were three more athletic sessions to attend after Neeraj. Dono relays. So basically, in the morning, I attended the 4x4 men's and women's relay, and then later 4x1 finals, and then the next day 4x4 finals. Yeah, it was sort of a mini world championship also of world athletics, and obviously world athletics is where the you could feel the power of Olympics and what craziness 70,000 80,000 odd people can bring. You have so many people chatting around pre-event. You have a whole lot of party going on outside the stadium once the sessions end. People dancing, people drinking around, just having a chat with strangers and stuff. It was overall pretty good experience from a fan point of view. And then, yeah, I think 11th is when I flew back to India and Kapil uh, continued his European venture.
I
Yeah,
know
this was,
how
yeah,
I
go on,
moved to
Kapil.
Switzerland on 11th. प्लान वॉज कि अगर रितिका फाइनल पहुंच जाती देन आई वुड हैव गॉन फॉर द गोल्ड मेडल मैच बट
Same,
या
yeah.
once she lost at that point it was over.
Yeah. So yeah, overall, this was how our Olympic experience looked. We had prepared it. Almost took us good 2 years to do all the planning. Still, there were so many decisions that you have to take on a real time basis when you're in the middle of the Olympics, depending on results, depending on draws, depending on who's qualifying, who's not, and stuff like that. Yeah, overall, crazy experience, lots of good memories, some great heartbreaks, and yes, these are some of the basic stats. 15 sports for me, 35 sessions. I could see 4 medals out of 6, 200 plus kilometers walked. Yeah,
Yeah, and
couple.
well, obviously you can see that mine is much lesser.
But
20
you got to
sessions.
see more medals,
Yeah,
which
one
is
medal, one Aman ka medal I went where you went to athletics. You could have
mm,
gone if you wanted. But yeah, okay, it was nice. मतलब I'm happy eventually मेरी capability इतनी है. So from that from
leg
that
still
perspective,
spinning is a stat as well. Huh?
I would have my only maybe a slight disappointing fact was eventually I ended up selling all my non-India sports. I had fencing, I had BMX racing, I had basketball. Eventually कहीं पे भी जाने की मेरे पास ताकत हुई नहीं. सिर्फ एक BMX cycling में गया मैं. So I would have liked to gone to a couple of them, but ठीक है, it is what it is. Yeah. Other than that, Roland Garros experience, no real complaints that way. And yeah, my sister definitely had one complaint कि मतलब फ्रांस ने अगर एक जगह थोड़ी है ना चोरी की है, it was in the quality of the chairs. I think the chair quality could have been better at many stadiums. जो तुझे
Yeah,
लगता नहीं है, but हम लोग को लगता
नहीं
है.
athletics में definitely they were uncomfortable. Yeah.
And not just athletics, shooting के qualification में they were uncomfortable. Hockey में भी they were a
बाकी
little
जगह
bit
तो नहीं
uncomfortable.
फील हुआ कहीं पे या
Hmm.
हाँ ठीक है वो तेरा पॉइंट वैलिड है ठीक है अच्छा अब सो आई वांटेड टू टॉक अबाउट अ लॉट in terms of most memorable
हाँ,
moments heartbreaks etc we had created certain themes that we would have each spoken about it but I don't think there's time left for that so we'll just roll it show some pictures if there are any.
If you want, you can just list one, two, three. If you want, if you don't want to, we can just look at the pictures.
Yeah, let's just go slide by slide and whatever comes through.
तो मतलब you want to list most memorable like one, two, three. Description तो दे ही दिया है.
आगे चल लेना स्लाइड में फ्रॉम देयर ओनली आई
अच्छा,
कैन
स्लाइड से बोलेगा. ओ, ओके ओके.
ज्यादातर तो we've already spoken about it in within the itinerary only. So, yeah.
तुझे बोलना है one, two, three most memorable or something.
Yeah, I think for me most these were the three most memorable. First, like I tweeted also, meeting so many of I can proudly call them friends only now.
Hmm.
We've been in touch for many years on Twitter through Olympics on my mind, and yeah, it was amazing meeting all of them in Chateau. We were all together in Paris. We kept on bumping into each other at different venues. It was great, meeting all of these traveling fans, and that was one which, by the way, all of them agree on a couple of points as far as Olympics on my mind is concerned. One, I just want to let it out because Kapil has already frustrated me in this live stream also that one, Kapil definitely speaks much more than me, which Kapil says that is opposite.
या वो तो
Okay.
एक बार तू बैठ मेरे साथ और काउंट करेंगे. ठीक है कि किसने कितना
Sec-
बोला है.
Second, the streams are exceptionally long and we can reduce it, which again Kapil does not see any point or any wisdom there as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, I'll counter that by saying कि we have had about 40 viewers right through. घटे नहीं है अभी भी. That's what I can say.
You that's like I mean 3 hours is a long time. ठीक है,
हाँ ठीक है,
let's not
आज लंबा हो
go
गया है.
into it.
आज लंबा हो गया बट ओके.
ठीक है, yeah. Second for me was like after all that I said about the way I felt after watching Satvik Chirag losing. Meeting them was very special, and I can't thank Charan enough. Satvik's elder brother, he was a part of our group, and yeah, I was in touch with him. We've been in touch for some time now, so he sort of arranged this meeting, and yeah, it was good talking to both of them. They were clearly not in the mood, so I didn't have a lot to say. Also, just asked for a picture, then shook hands, told them all the best for rest of the events that they have. And yeah, of course, again, we were lucky enough to go in front. Neeraj, being Neeraj, was getting clicked with every single Indian that was there in the stadium that day. Came to us even before we asked, even before we shook his hand and got a picture clicked. Himself came and tells us, "भाई आज कसर थोड़ी रह गई," which essentially, for people who don't know Hindi, translate into that he couldn't fulfill his potential. That's what he himself said without us even uttering a single word. That's how, that's how amazing person he is. Yeah, then we got a picture clicked, and then I told him that, you still have a silver from US last time, which needs to be converted into a gold. So hopefully, after 4 years, you'll be able to convert that silver into gold also. To which he understood what I meant, and then he just moved on. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was a little special moment for me.
yeah. I mean, I don't have much such similar moments. For me, obviously, the in terms of such moments, one was obviously Ilavnil coming and thanking us, and I think she did it twice. She first said on first day, "Thanks for supporting us," and then second day, especially, she walked literally to where all of us were sitting and said, "Thank you for supporting us," and also we obviously got a selfie with us, जो आगे वैभव ने डाली एक slide पे. So, despite her entire heartbreak, she was very gracious. So that was definitely a memorable moment. And uske alawa, obviously, there was this Harmanpreet selfie, not selfie, Harmanpreet photo right after the bronze match. But yeah, uske alawa, if we are talking memorable moments in terms of sports, for me, first was definitely Vinesh beating Susaki. Second was the Manu medals, and we can kind of combine both of them. They were similar experiences again, made a lot more special by all of us being together and cheering with all the flags and everything. And I can't deny that the fact that the cameras captured it definitely elevated that as well. And yeah, the last one was probably the hockey bronze itself. Um, you know, pulling through that match, with it being Srijesh's last match, and then the celebrations after Srijesh going to the top of the goal post, and everybody bowing to him and everything. So all those
Trademark,
huh? Head
his
bows,
trademark celebration.
huh?
His trademark
हाँ,
celebration.
trademark celebration, yeah. And उसके बाद भी, basically he was sort of given the send off which we often see. So yeah, those were like and by the way, a top wala is also that photo of just seeing Vinesh in the semi-final while sitting on the hockey match. So I just put that. I could not actually see Vinesh in person, unfortunately, because वो पूरा discussion हो गया. But yeah, her beating Suzaki was still the most memorable moment, at least for me. ठीक है.
Alright, चलते हैं आगे.
आगे best sporting experience. Yeah, these are just stadium photos, right? We have anyways talked a lot about them. तो beach volleyball भी तो बात कर चुका है, swimming. This is
Exactly.
fencing. Athletics, the purple track. We didn't talk about the purple track, but it looked great, right? The stadium definitely looked very beautiful.
Yeah, this lavender thing, it was a theme across the venues, right? Even
Uh,
badminton,
that was the
everywhere.
colors, right? It was basically the Paris color.
Yeah.
And yeah, some more stadiums. This is like the light show happening on the before the badminton session started. This is BMX cycling, wrestling hall. This is Djokovic Alcaraz. You can't see them, but it is right after that match. And the boxing ring, which offered a great view.
Mm.
आगे जाओ.
Yeah.
हार्ट ब्रेकिंग तुझे बोलना है?
Heartbreaking भी I think yeah obviously
पहला तो
Vinesh
सबको विनेश का पता ही है.
Vinesh था Satvik Chirag we also discussed
या
that was for me heartbreaking. तीसरा क्या था
आई मीन अ
actually
लॉट ऑफ.
हाँ I mean it came as a shocker but थोड़ा सा तो seeing Neeraj uh, being a little frustrated and unhappy not winning a gold वो थोड़ा सा लग रहा था मतलब for him I was feeling a little low that even though you know track and field silver is a huge big deal for us but हाँ थोड़ा सा उसके लिए I was feeling bad that you know could have uh, it wasn't in his hands also he did his best whatever he could do but yeah that was third for me.
हाँ, so first two I think I'll agree with you. Number one was Vinesh and number two was Sachi. Those two I'll agree with you. Nikhat is a little bit complicated thing because it was the heartbreaking part was actually the draw, and yeah, the performance was also.
Heartbreaking part was the manner in
हाँ,
which
so
he lost,
exactly the
right?
performance was also but फिर वो heartbreaking point नहीं आता उधर, right? Because the draw पे ही वहाँ पे तकलीफ हो गई थी.
It was more disappointing,
Yeah,
not
disappointing is the
heartbreaking.
more correct word. So yeah, heartbreaking फिर I guess मतलब I have to pick among the fourth place finishers only because those were the heartbreaking. I guess Lakshya maybe was the one I felt most कि maybe that could have been done out of all the fourth places. Manu का at least ठीक है चलो she had two medals. Skate anyways did well. Mirabai I didn't have high hopes. So Arjun was
Yeah,
another one.
actually true.
Huh?
Actually true. Lakshay was also a little. I mean, in that moment, obviously you were pretty sad that क्या
And,
किया है इसने.
and also the draw he came through, right? पहले क्रिस्टी फिर चाओ एक्सेल्सन के साथ भी ना फर्स्ट गेम में ही was so ahead and then it went south. So मतलब एक्सेल्सन के साथ भी पहला गेम तो जीत ही रहा था, right? पूरा पहला गेम he
Hmm.
had it in his hands before he let it go. So वो भी
हाँ
था.
वो
So
तो एक्सेल्सन के अगेंस्ट तो
हाँ
even if
हाँ,
he had won the first game
yeah,
was
you never
leading
know.
8-3 in second you just never know yeah.
Yeah, that is true. But yeah, overall I think out of the fourth places, I mean, if I have to pick the biggest heartbreak, it will probably be Lakshya. Maybe Manu comes close, because you know, three medals could have been another historic thing, but then two medals itself is quite historic, so it's fine. एक
True.
hockey semi-final was also another one, but it just the feeling was that we were high on Vinesh at that point, so it didn't hit that much at that point. It kind of maybe hit a little
Yeah, it
later.
felt like a opportunity lost, a
हाँ
little disappointing, but
हाँ,
heartbreak, I
इतना
don't
नहीं.
know. Personally, for me, तो नहीं था.
हाँ इतना नहीं था मतलब वो I think it felt a little later कि you know that was a match we could have done and at least I felt maybe we played better in that match मुझे at least वो लगा. You might not
Hmm.
agree but I felt we were better than Germany. It's just that Germany converted their PCs and we didn't. But open play में I think we were better.
Yeah.
ठीक है चलो आगे बढ़े.
Yep.
Those who surprised again I think number one तो easy ही है.
Vinesh, you mean?
Yeah, number one तो विनेश ही है. I can add Aman to that. Definitely did not expect him to return with a medal. But
Hmm.
yeah, he got a little lucky.
Swapnil as well.
Swapnil is the other one. But again, shooting mein, I'm not that surprised easily. So I wouldn't say too
हाँ,
high.
but Swapnil, like when you consider the
Yeah,
entire rifle pistol
team and
contingent
everything,
from
yes.
India also,
Swapnil definitely comes in.
Swapnil probably would have been in bottom three or four.
Yeah. Huh, rifle pistol mein, yes. Not
Hmm.
including the shotgun. You
Yeah.
can even add the Skeet team, I think. Skeet mixed team also, I think, did pretty well
Hmm.
in terms of surprising. Because a lot of people had hopes that maybe the teams are very few so that they can do something, but I didn't. And honestly, the match was also pretty good. It was just that China was too good. So we can't complain, you know, they faltered under the pressure or whatever. They had like 8 on 8, right? In the end. Last round with
Hmm.
the Puda 8 on 8 Mara. And China needed 8 on 8 to win it, and they did it. So we can't really
Hmm.
complain much there.
Yeah.
Arjun Babuta would be the another one who may be surprised.
Yeah, not so much for me. It was always on the card that he can do that.
और कोई है?
नहीं, सरप्राइज एलिमेंट तो उसके ही थे.
मतलब we are talking positive surprises only. We are not talking negative surprises,
Positive.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. These only.
I think hockey team also you can say a little bit. I think
Hmm.
given their build up, they definitely performed much better than was expected.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then the way the India Australia match, that was definitely surprising. Yeah, you cannot say that was not surprising.
Yeah. India Australia again.
Yeah,
Yes.
India
That
Australia
was a
definitely.
huge surprise.
Yeah, I think वो अपन भूल गए. India Australia definitely comes in the top three of surprises.
Yeah.
फिर आगे disappointed.
Disappointed.
I think
Maybe for me, it was one. Yeah. Mirabai for
hmm,
sure.
hmm,
Satvik Chirag. Even though I mean heartbreaking bhi tha, but you have, if you sort of keep all your emotions aside,
hmm.
disappointing bhi tha because they also were playing pretty well.
Definitely, yeah,
Could
and
have
especially the way the
won.
first game went, specifically.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then I think boxing, both Nikhat as well as Nishant.
Yeah, yeah. I'll add some names. One is obviously Antim. Antim, I think I was probably for me maybe the most disappointing performance across the games. Just the way she lost, and I definitely had much higher hopes from her. इसमें एक थोड़ा बहुत वो factor हमेशा होता है कि how much hopes do you have.
Hmm.
You can make an argument कि Antim also after last year's World Championship she hadn't really competed much, so maybe she was already struggling and all those things, and maybe I should not have had high hopes from her, but I did. So that was one disappointing. Another for me was जैसे मैंने बोला था was Amit Pangal. I think he definitely was much better than he showed against the Zambian. And उसके अलावा तो बोल ही चुका है Sachi is there, Nikhat is there, Sift is there. We didn't mention Sift. Sift is another major disappointment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's one of the I think few athletes who actually candidly admitted that I felt to be under a lot of pressure and I just couldn't overcome that.
Hmm.
So sometimes you're at a loss of reasons, right? That what because Olympics, even if it was like a mini Olympics for shooters in Chatro, and they had almost like a World Cup going on, but it does feel different considering you have 15 media people from India all over. You have so many fans traveling. Some unusual things are still there.
और एक सबसे बड़ा तो वो है ना which a lot of shooters have said कि eventually when you go to a World Cup it's like if you fail there's another World Cup coming in 2 months 3 months. If you go to an Olympics and you fail you now have to wait 4 years. तो वो
Hmm.
सबसे मतलब even you remove all the media attention you remove everything else वो उधर ही प्रेशर सबसे ज्यादा आ जाता है राइट.
आ जाता है and like you never know where you'll be next 4 years. Who else might come and
हाँ
take your position?
एग्जैक्टली अपना शूटिंग तो मतलब इतना डीप है यू हैव नो आइडिया कि 4 साल में क्या होगा.
Right?
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
guess we can add the archery teams as well here, especially after the way they performed
perennial
in the ranking round.
qualification. Hmm.
Uske baad you definitely expected much more.
True, true.
By the way, another heartbreaking was that Dheeraj Mohammed match, which we didn't talk about. That was
Yeah,
also a little,
it was heartbreaking, but yeah, Dheeraj gave his
थोड़ा
best.
हाँ, and there were still
Sometimes
rounds
it's
left
just
to
not your day. Yeah.
हाँ और उसमें फिर ये भी था कि there were still more rounds left, so you don't know आगे क्या होता.
Hmm. Right.
I think we covered it, right?
Hmm.
Worst experience मैं तो ऑलरेडी बता चुका हूँ मेरा 31st वाला. तू भी आई थिंक बता ही चुका है.
हाँ वही टेनिस वॉश आउट
So
दूसरी बार हुआ मेरे साथ तो आई ट्वीटेड ऑल्सो अबाउट इट रियो में भी सेम स्टोरी हैपेंड आई जस्ट हैड वन टिकट एंड वो पूरा वॉश आउट हो गया और इधर भी यही हुआ.
so at least there we are connected. दोनों के अलग experience but दोनों के at Roland Garros.
Yeah, I think even that like not being able to reach for Vinesh's bout, the
Hmm.
second bout,
Hmm.
that was also like I have some regret around it. ठीक है पहला तो it was a proper thoughtful decision. जीती उसकी ज्यादा खुशी हुई बट वो देखने को मिल जाता तो थोड़ा बेटर रहता.
ठीक है. और इसमें मेरे पास कुछ नहीं है बिकॉज आई रियली डिडंट डू मच अदर देन द ओलंपिक्स। सिर्फ एक शो देखा मैंने विच वाज डिसेंट, दैट वाज फाइन। उसके अलावा माय शेड्यूल रियली वाज गो टू द स्टेडियम, गेट बैक टू द होटल एंड रेस्ट। तो
Hmm.
जितना भी टाइम स्टेडियम में नहीं हो, यू आर स्टेइंग एट द होटल। द ओनली थिंग एक्स्ट्रा आई डिड वाज, एक वाज ऑब्वियसली दैट शो, द मॉलन रूट शो, एंड द अदर थिंग आई डिड वाज दैट कोको कोला फेस्ट। एंड वो
Hmm.
कोको कोला फेस्ट में भी आइडिया ये था कि let's stay here a little while because we actually had Eiffel Tower tickets booked after that. But we had to stay there for a couple of hours if we had to go that. And eventually my sister gave up. Kavita gave up कि यार नहीं हो पाएगा, चलते हैं वापस. So we went back and fortunately we did get refund for those Eiffel Tower tickets. But yeah, we didn't even eventually go to the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Yeah.
तेरा बोल ले, ये तेरा ही डिपार्टमेंट है.
एक बार ये लाएगा स्लाइड.
हाँ स्लाइड आ गई.
हाँ तो yeah, obviously there are more things outside of sport also that you can experience. uh, Pin exchange, like I tweeted about it. That was, I mean, didn't do a lot, but जो भी दो तीन pins exchange हुई, that was a fun part of it. I realized that there were so many people who came asking for a India pin, but we eventually never have any India pins, right?
मतलब नॉट
Who
ऑन सेल बट आई जस्ट ऐड,
got on sale, yeah.
आई डिड, मतलब तेरे भी फोटो में आई थिंक एक इंडिया पिन था तेरे पास जो तूने कहीं से निकाला है. And I will say I did get one India pin out from one of the shooting support staff. The shooting support staff just
Uh,
gave it to me. We were
that was a
sitting.
different. That
The,
was again a contingent pin only, but a different kind.
yeah, so I did get a very, and it was a beautiful pin. I didn't bring it here with me. Maybe at some point I'll show, but it was a beautiful pin, and he just gave it to us. Just because we were sitting there and cheering and whatever.
Yeah.
So and I did
Even
wear that to eventually the last medals. नीरज में मैंने पहना था, अमन में पहना था, उसके पहले हॉकी ब्रॉन्ज में पहना था. So I did wear them. Yeah, so just adding that.
yeah, yeah. Even this one, the India pin that you can see here. So this is again the official contingent pin only. In fact, 2 days back, Manu, when she was meeting, what either in one of the interviews or when she was meeting Mary Com, she was wearing this pin on. So this, I accidentally met Raja sir in a tram ride. Okay, he was going to
Hmm.
some destination and we sort of met there and he gave that to me. So वहां से मेरे को मिल गया. But my point was, even if you carry simple India flags, right? So many people ask it and they are ready to exchange it, barter it using their own pins.
और
I think मेरे पास एक
तुझे ज्यादा भी पूछते हैं ना क्योंकि बैग पे तेरे सारे पिन्स दिखते हैं.
दिखते हैं. हाँ, that is also a reason. मेरे लिए the funniest exchange was I had this very like silly ISSF World Cup shooting pin from 2019 from here, a Delhi shooting range only. Someone liked that and gave me a Azerbaijan ka pin. I was like, okay, ठीक है.
यहाँ नहीं लगा है
If
क्या
you want
दिखने?
to, the top one is Azerbaijan only.
द टॉप
So
रेक्टेंगुलर वन.
yeah, yeah. Yeah.
अच्छा.
So he sort of traded that for me. And then, of course, one of the highlights was partying after athletics event. A bunch of us always stayed back, partied with a lot of people from different nationalities. This is from the night Neeraj won silver. We were some 12, 15 of us. We went for drinks and dinner late till 2, 3 in the night. And I can't, I've lost the count of number of people who congratulated us actually in the train, in the restaurants, outside the stadium, inside the stadium. That congratulations on India, Javelin, very good, and all those kind of compliments, right? And yeah, this one more picture, little funny side story. This is in fact from the 10th
ये ऑरेंज शर्ट
August
वाला
only.
यू सेइंग राइट?
The day you guys were also in the Olympic India house, right?
या.
So you would have seen I was talking to this bunch of people here, right? You were also somewhere close by only. So apparently the guy in the middle, Arush, he was a volunteer in hockey, and
Okay.
we kept bumping into him every now and then, shooting in India House, hockey, etc. Seemed a familiar face. We started talking about our jobs, and eventually got to know that we started our career from the same company, and we were a part of two different teams, but within a same function. And we knew each other before, okay, from Capgemini Consulting. Okay, that's one thing. And then that day, Arush was with his friend. Okay, funny story. He was with his friend who actually seemed even more familiar. Okay, and eventually, when the thing came up, I suddenly realized that he was my manager in Capgemini. So he used to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
based out of Bangalore, and I was in Mumbai, and I used to report him for like 4 or 5 months only, and then I moved from Mumbai to Delhi. But yeah, like, funny story, small world. It was nice catching up with them. तो इस तरीके की भी experiences जब मिलते हैं, I think Olympics can only make that happen for you.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, too tired to do all this, simply put.
Yeah, I mean it's all a part of how you see things, right? अब ठीक है.
Yeah, just some more pictures. They got a selfie with Bindra. I still remember these guys, they were just hanging out after the Manu Bhaka Sarabjot match, and Bindra was there with an IFC delegation. So they
And in
managed
a
to,
good mood.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's just impossible to, you can't predict what mood will he be in. So yeah, someone I think asked him, and he was in a good mood. So yeah, even he asked us कहाँ से आए हो, and all of those small talks we also did.
Yeah, and I remember that at this point I am actually at the shotgun range watching Prithviraj Tondiman. So that's where I am. I didn't feel so sad about missing out on this because I think had I not gone to shotgun, I would have probably left by this time. Okay, these guys were hanging out, but I might have anyways left, so I didn't feel that sad. But yeah, ठीक है. You always feel a little sad you miss out on Binza.
Yeah. Sardar I posted because he was in India House all the time. I met him in even during my flight back from Paris to Delhi. तो काफी humble था, और I think he's staying in Paris only these days, or maybe he was there for the Olympic Games. या उससे बात करके मजा आया.
Yeah,
बोला हॉकी का कि इंजॉय कर रहे हो. अपने टाइम पे तो हम इतना आगे तक नहीं ले जा पाए, बट हाँ, लड़के बहुत बढ़िया कर रहे हैं आजकल. And yeah, this again was pretty special. Parth Jindal has been an inspiration personally for me. The amount of work he's doing for Indian sports, so I draw a lot of inspiration. And bumping into him at various venues, first TT, then on a couple of occasions on wrestling, and this was the last time we sort of met before Aman's match. एंड एक्चुअली मेरे और मेरे फ्रेंड को देखा इसने, तो देन आई डोंट नो वेयर ही वाज सीटेड, वो अपने आप ही आ गया. दैट started watching with us, and then he started calling his dad also. Dad, जल्दी आ जाओ, अमन का मैच स्टार्ट हो रहा है, मिस्टर सचिन जिंदल. या वो भी छोटे छोटे, all of these experiences were also good, some good memories. So yeah.
yeah, and ये इला वाला तो हम लोग ने बात की ही है. So this was, I think it was during the Manu Sarabjot match only, when Ila had also come. So we cheered for her, and then she was just passing in front. So I was the one who actually asked for selfie. These guys were all scared. Okay, mat pucho because she's lost, but she was very gracious. And next day she actually came and specifically walked to us and said, "Thanks a lot for all of you, to coming and supporting and cheering us." So that was that. फिर ये सब तो बस group photos, I think, at various stadiums, right?
But yeah, different stadiums, catching up, getting pictures clicked, and in one of those, couple also sort of
This is the hockey stadium right after the semi-final, where इसने specifically मुझे
got
phone करके बुलाया कि
lucky
तू,
कि किसी
हाँ.
फोटो में तो एटलीस्ट हैव योर प्रेजेंस.
नहीं, बट एक ओलंपिक रिंग के सामने वाला भी है, डाला नहीं है, बट एक ओलंपिक रिंग के सामने का भी है. शूटिंग रेंज में भी अपना। बट यार ठीक है। यार
तू
इसमें तूने मेरे को
सेलिब्रिटी
स्पेसिफिकली
से
बोला।
कम थोड़ी ना था तू, वहां पे तेरे को ढूंढना, तेरे को स्पॉट करना।
हाँ वही, तू मेरे को बेसिकली फोन करके बुलाया कि तू आज निकलेगा नहीं, तू आज आ पहले, या फिर अदरवाइज खत्म होते से ही आए विद माय फैमिली, एवरीबॉडी इज लाइक भैया कहाँ है टैक्सी, सबसे पहले टैक्सी ढूंढो।
या
हाँ, चलो आगे बढ़े।
चलो, बस व्हाट्स देयर
या दीज आर आल्सो सम मोर
लेफ्ट।
पिक्चर्स। ये दिखाई दिया द सर्बियन सेलिब्रेशन एंड दीज आर post hockey match selfies. Lakshya Sen also came to the semis only, I believe. And this, by the way, is one photo I had to put where Weber is apparently very embarrassed that he's cheering so much. I One of the Manu matches. I'm not too sure which one. तुझे याद है?
आई कांट सी द फोटो।
देख अभी आई होगी।
टॉप लेफ्ट यू
या
मीन?
या
हाँ, तो इसमें क्या एम्बैरेसमेंट वाली बात है?
तू ही बोलता है कि वेरी एम्बैरेस, ऐसे मैं
तू
इतना चीयर कर रहा हूँ।
अपनी शेकी वीडियोस दैट यू यूज्ड टू पुट ऑन ट्विटर विद closing on people's faces, that is where I asked you not to
अच्छा
do that.
अच्छा, this you are happy with?
Yeah, why
Cheering
not?
like. Hmm. And this is by the way Sandeep Singh, for whoever has not recognized. Uh, had a bad start, but otherwise made a great comeback, but didn't happen for him. तो ये भी वही शूटिंग रेंज के बाहर मिला था। जनरली मोस्ट ऑफ द शूटर्स वंस दे फिनिश द इवेंट दे वर कमिंग टू सी। आई थिंक वेबर वाज द वन राइट हु इवेंचुअली गेव संदीप अ फ्लैग एज वेल, क्योंकि संदीप का जो फ्लैग था, he and a mate had bought a really huge flag, and the people behind them were complaining that the flag is blocking their view. So eventually Weber had given them one of his flags, right?
Sandeep gave you the looks also.
Hmm? Yeah, वो संदीप का लुक का ट्विटर पे फोटो है ही, where people can see he's eyeing our flag basically. And yeah, this is just last थोड़े बहुत fun moments. This is left top पे, this is like my first Olympic experience at the opening ceremony with a plastic bag on my head, because that's all I had to protect myself from the rain, और कुछ नहीं था मेरे पास। पूरा
Oh,
भीगा हूँ मैं बुरी तरह से। और ये सामने, और ये बाजू में जो दिख रही है ना, ये ब्लू छतरी, ये ब्लू छतरी ने बेसिकली मेरे को भिगाया है। बारिश में इतना नहीं भीगा हूँ मैं जितना ये ब्लू छतरी से भीगा हूँ, क्योंकि सारा पानी इसके ऊपर जाके मेरी पैंट पे, माई पैंट वॉज कम्प्लीटली वेट, मेनली बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ब्लू छतरी। But ठीक है, this was like the start of the Olympics, and this rightmost with the Eiffel Tower is like the end. This Eiffel Tower was visible from the wrestling stadium. So Aman's match was the last one I watched, and yeah, it's not the best lighting, but the sunset ki photo hai with the Eiffel Tower, so you could take this from the wrestling stadium itself.
a funny thing, I did not even spot Eiffel Tower from Shamnewa's wrestling venue.
तू गया कितनी
लेकिन
बार?
2 बार गया ना।
पहली बार तो तू कौन सी 2 बार गया तू? एक।
अंतिम अंतिम
हाँ
के केस में 10-15 मिनट में वापस आ गया, तब
हाँ
रजिस्टर नहीं हुआ।
हाँ, और
सेकंड
दूसरा
टाइम फॉर अमन,
अमन का मेडल मैच नहीं ना, पहले वाला।
क्वालिफिकेशन या
हाँ
दोनों
या
बार ही दिखा ही नहीं कहाँ पे था।
मुझे एक्चुअली इसलिए भी दिख गया था क्योंकि मैं जब अंतिम के लिए गया ना, सो मेरी एंट्री वाज राइट नेक्स्ट टू दिस, तो मेरी एंट्री से ही दिखता था। सो आई न्यू इट देन, एंड देन फिर अमन के मैच में आई वेंट देयर एंड स्पेसिफिकली आई टुक अ फोटो।
हम्म,
एंड दिस इज जस्ट मैस्कॉट्स हम लोग के होटल ने सेटअप किया था। So मतलब anybody can come there and take a photo. These are like just ice creams and Nolan Garros. And this with the flag and this mascot, this is what Kavita, set up at in a room on the sofa. And इस पे बीच में this was like, she's like, this is the good luck charm mascot with the goggles and the cap and the flag and everything. और बीच में इसका एक बार झगड़ा भी हुआ था when my dad just wanted to sit on the sofa and Kavita was like, इसको हाथ लगाया ना तो देख लेता। So just something she made it at the
like
Olympics.
Sheldon Cooper, huh? Spot fixed.
हम्म, क्या बोल रहा है?
Like Sheldon Cooper, spot
हाँ
fixed है,
हाँ,
ले
स्पॉट फिक्स है,
ले।
उसको हाथ नहीं लगाना। बट या आई गेस इट बॉट अ लिटिल बिट ऑफ गुड लक। आई थिंक पहले दिन जब किया था उसने, तब आई थिंक वी गॉट दैट, कौन सा मेडल, फोर्थ मेडल कौन सा है, आई थिंक हॉकी आया ना सबसे पहले, या मे बी विनेश हुआ था। आई थिंक मे बी द डे शी डिड इट द विनेश सुजाकी थिंग हैपेंड, बट समथिंग वुड हैपेंड द व्हेन शी डिड इट द फर्स्ट टाइम, एंड उसके बाद शी इज लाइक, इसको हाथ नहीं लगाना। चलो,
Nice.
आई थिंक दैट्स इट राइट।
Yeah, that's it. That's a lot of it.
I think it might be our longest stream. I'm not sure. Uh, I think 3 घंटे के आसपास, slightly over
Yeah.
3 hours. Definitely one of the longest, could be the longest. But मैं continuously देख रहा था कि public बोर होके जा रही है क्या, and I'm like public बोर होके जा नहीं रही है तो ठीक है, we are just reminiscing, it's fine. तो वैभव वैभव को गुस्सा आ रहा है, कल संडे है साले, अभी तो सुधर जा.
मेरे तेरे तरह erratic स्लीपिंग पैटर्न और वो नहीं है, मतलब मैं
तो
टाइम से
कल ले,
सोता हूँ, टाइम से उठता हूँ।
तो कल
अच्छा
ले.
कर। हाँ, कोई प्राउड फील होने वाली बात नहीं है।
भैया सैटरडे नाइट को तो बनता है.
ठीक है, कोई नहीं।
चलो
चलो
एनीवेज.
ठीक है, बट एनीवेज इट वाज गुड फन, मजा आया। थोड़ा
या
सा नॉस्टैल्जिया वापस।
I think there's some comments about Nisha. We didn't talk about her, but yeah, ठीक है.
हम्म।
Unfortunate.
या।
नॉर्थ कोरियन ने पहले फिंगर तोड़े फिर हाथ तोड़ा. Can't do anything.
हम्म। I think even our first bout was against European champion, right?
Yeah, yeah. कोई तो मतलब it was a accomplished wrestler. I don't remember who.
Ukrainian. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was an accomplished wrestler, and yeah, second match तो जीता हुआ ही था, मतलब she was leading what 8-0 or something or whatever, and then first the fingers went and then the hand went, no, the arm went. एंड मतलब मुझे एटलीस्ट उसमें ये भी थोड़ा लगा कि मे बी इंडिया में ना उतना एंगर उसके बारे में आया नहीं, बिकॉज जियो सिनेमा अपेरेंटली शोड एड्स ड्यूरिंग हर एंटायर इंजरी टाइम आउट. बट
Oh.
बट आई सॉ इट ऑन अनदर वीपीएन, तो वहाँ पे पूरा दे showed the entire injury timeout, and she really was not happy, and at least tertially blaming the North Korean, if not fully.
Hmm.
ये जानबूझ के कर दी या whatever, but ठीक है,
Yeah.
it is what it is. या
ठीक
और
है,
कुछ
चलो।
खत्म
नहीं,
करें.
बस बहुत कुछ हो गया। Yes, let's end it. Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed. I'm not sure. Hope you had some takeaways from it, and just in case you plan to go for next Olympics or next to next Olympics, just a couple of things that start planning well in advance. Do a lot of research so that there are no unprecedented or unpredictable experiences that come your way. And yes, I don't know if or when next Olympics will happen, but if it does, so yeah, hopefully it'll go on similar lines as this one in terms of fan experience, and opposite in terms of Indian performances. Yeah.
Yeah, and also I'll add, matlab, obviously you should do your research and you should start early. But the one thing I'll say is it is much easier now than it was in, let's say, Tokyo or Rio. The ticketing system they have centralized and they have changed it, which makes things a lot more easier. So I mean, I can say getting the tickets for Paris was like 10 times easier than getting them for Rio or for Tokyo.
Yeah.
Uh, so वो
Still
भी,
requires a lot of planning.
yeah,
Yeah.
still definitely, and एक थोड़ा बहुत वो भी है कि you kind of need to take bets on which Indians will do well and which Indians won't. जिसके बारे में you have no option, you have to take your bets on that. And yeah, by the way, if anybody wants, मतलब ठीक है LA तो 4 साल दूर है, but we are always there on Twitter if anybody wants advice on how to get to Olympics or what to do, all those things are there. और अगला स्ट्रीम तो पता नहीं कब करेंगे. आई थिंक इवन आवर एथलीट्स आर लार्जली ऑन ब्रेक
Yeah. I don't think it's happening this year at least.
दिस ईयर. सीधा 4 4 महीने मार दिए तूने सीधा, कुछ ज्यादा नहीं हो गया.
So we'll see if something
हाँ,
major comes along, then
हाँ
we'll.
वही, व्हेन वी हैव समथिंग टू टॉक अबाउट वील कम. बट 4 महीने कुछ ज्यादा मार दिया भाई साहब.
चलो ठीक है। All right. Okay, guys. Thanks for joining in. Bye bye. Take care.
चलो बाय बाय.